Chapter 2890. The army of the demonic abyss continued to attack ferociously, and the army of the human race retreated in defeat. Just when the people of the flying fire continent were about to lose all hope, the Emperor of Freedom appeared once again. The place where he appeared was actually the cold tide sea, and he went on a killing spree in the cold tide sea. The unfettered emperor didn't like to move with the army and preferred to move alone. Moreover, he liked to harass the rear and delay the army of the demonic abyss. Now that the demonic abyss's army was about to engulf the flying fire continent, the unfettered emperor alone could pin down countless armies. If the demonic abyss didn't repel or kill the unfettered emperor, they wouldn't be able to attack with peace of mind. As expected, as soon as Emperor Unfettered made his move, the demon abyss army immediately stopped attacking. Many demon sovereigns were mobilized back to surround and kill Emperor Unfettered. As soon as the demonic abyss army stopped, the people of the flying fire continent heaved a sigh of relief and hastened their retreat. The Cliff Emperor and the U Emperor gathered their men to set up a defensive line once again. At the same time, they asked the Candle Heaven Great Emperor to come and support them. Great Emperor Candle Sky sent someone over, but he only mobilized a few other emperors. Sunlight Emperor went over. Sunlight Emperor had no other choice. The flying fire continent had been conquered. Next would be the Silver Flame Sea region. The entire sea region was his territory. Luli didn't move. His abilities were weak. He would be killed if he went to the northern theater of operations. It was not safe for him to go to the southern one. Therefore, he decided to stay in the mystic armor city to cultivate. He still had an obsession in his heart. He wanted to integrate the train of thought that the reincarnation the Arch had given him. Also, he started to think of ways to comprehend the soul secret art that ancestor who had imparted to him. This secret technique was too profound. Even he couldn't understand it. Ancestor Swan said that this was a secret technique created by a very powerful heavenly emperor sect, so it was normal for it to be hard to comprehend. Time continued to pass. After more than a month, the unfettered emperor retreated. According to the scouts, the unfettered emperor seemed to have been injured many times. Emperor Xiaoyao couldn't hold on any longer and had no choice but to retreat. Once Emperor Unfettered retreated, the Demon Abyss army started attacking again. Emperor Ya and Emperor Yu only managed to hold on for 13 days before another emperor-level expert died. Millions of soldiers were killed or injured, and the army was forced to retreat again. There's something wrong with Emperor Ya and Emperor Yu. After Lu Li received the news, he began to doubt this matter again. After so many battles, so many great emperors had died, but neither Emperor Ya nor Emperor Yu had died. The Cliff Emperor was the commander of the army. At critical moments, he would definitely be at the front or at the back, but the Cliff Emperor was still alive. Good luck couldn't be with him all the time. There was only one explanation. The Cliff Emperor was a spy from the demonic abyss. He was controlled by the demonic abyss. Also, the demon abyss knew the situation of the half-dead Saint Emperor very well. No matter how one looked at it, there seemed to be a spy. But even if they were spies, what could Lu Li do? He reckoned that many people in the third heaven also had doubts. The problem was that there was no evidence. Ordinary people would probably not be able to sense it. It was very likely that the two of them were controlled by a high-level demonic ancestor. They definitely would not have demonic energy on them. The two of them were very famous in the third heaven. Now that they had been fighting for the human race, who would dare to say anything about them? What if he had wrongly accused the two of them? Lu Li had to keep waiting for immortal Tianzue to make his move. He believed that Taoist Tianzue had already taken his 3 disciples to the soaring fire continent and would definitely come out at the crucial moment. On the other side, the Dragon Rebel Abyss sent a message again. They were ready to move some of their clansmen here. They did not need a large territory. They only needed a city and a place to settle down. Lu Ling came. Since she had come to Lu Li, she must be soft-hearted. Lu Li did not say anything. He agreed readily. The Dragon Rebel Valley would fall. The Dragon Rebel race would have to relocate or they would be wiped out. The whole family had arrived at the chilly Winterland. They were on their way. Lu Li asked scouts of the chief family to keep an eye on them. When they were almost there, he would go and greet them in person. The Demon Abyss army was like a hot knife cutting through butter. Soon, half of the Flying Fire continent was conquered. Another ancient family was wiped out. There was still a half-dead Saint Emperor in this family. But he only used 2 moves to kill some Asmodeans and Demon Abyss warriors before he was gone. The Demon Abyss army had reached the Dragon Rebel Valley. Most of the Dragon Rebel race had retreated, but the Dragon Rebel wings stayed. They had to stay and guard the Dragon Rebel Valley. The bones of the ancestors of the Dragon Rebel race were buried here. As the family patriarch of the Dragon Rebel race, if the Dragon Rebel wings were to leave, it would be a disgrace to their ancestors. Lu Ling was in a bad mood after she heard the news. She was restless. The only one she liked in the Dragon Rebel race was the Dragon Rebel wings. At the moment, the Dragon Rebel wings might die, but she had to wait here, which made her uncomfortable. Reason told her that she could not court death. Lu Ling knew very well that the Dragon Rebel wings could not be persuaded to leave. Even if he and Lu Ling went, the Dragon Rebel wings would not leave. Therefore, Lu Ling had to persuade Lu Ling to spend more time with her. The Dragon Rebel wings would not leave. Emperor Ya and Emperor Yu brought their armies and powerful warriors to the Dragon Rebel Valley as well. They planned to stay here. The Dragon Rebel Valley had powerful formations of destruction that could effectively kill Demon Abyss warriors and powerful warriors. No, in the city of mystic armor, Lu Ling had made up her mind. She looked at Lu Li and said, "Lu Li, I want to go to the Dragon Rebel Valley." Sis, Lu Li felt bitter. In the end, Lu Ling made up her mind. She could not change her mind now that she had made up her mind. Lu Ling said, "Don't worry. I'm not going to court my own death. If my forefather dies, I will bring his bones back for burial. I don't want him to die without a proper burial. Let me go with you." Lu Li said no more. Seeing that Lu Ling was about to say something, he waved his hand and said, "I am very perceptive and I am faster than you. I can fly in the void. We can sneak in. Even if the Dragon Rebel Valley is conquered, we can still sneak in. If your ancestor dies, we'll find his body and bring it back. Then we'll immediately fly away. Sis, don't say any more. If you don't agree, I will go alone." "All right." Lu Ling knew Lu Li's temperament well. She sighed and said, "Brother, there are some things we have to do. Wait a long time." Lu Li went to the Yin family with Demon Peng Hu and told Patriarch 6. He was afraid that if he and Lu Ling both died there, the Lu family would have nobody to take care of. Lu Li told the crippled Zen master that if anything happened to Lu Ling and Lu Ling, he should ask the crippled Zen master to move to a small world or a secret realm. Anyways, they could not stay in the third heaven anymore. The crippled Zen master told Lu Li not to be impulsive and that he could go. Lu Li turned down his suggestion. Given the crippled Zen master's abilities, he would die for sure if he encountered Asmodeans. Lu Li still had a chance of survival. With that said, Lu Li went to Qi Wangshan. Qi Wangshan didn't agree as well, but he could not stop Lu Li from making up his mind. Lu Li asked Qi Wangshan to help him settle down the Hua family. Then, he went back to the city of mystic armor and talked to Lu Renhuang. Then, he teleported away with Lu Ling and Demon Peng Hu. As Lu Ling said, there were some things that had to be done. If Lu Ling wanted to go, Lu Li must go. Chapter 2891. Lu Li, Lu Ling, and old Demon Peng Hu arrived at the Flying Fire continent secretly. They had disguised themselves. Lu Li put on a mask. Lu Ling changed her clothes, and old Demon Peng Hu had skills to change his looks. Also, the Qi family blocked off the information when they were teleported. Not many people knew that they were at the Flying Fire continent. Lu Li put Lu Ling and old Demon Peng Hu into 2 interspatial artifacts when they arrived at the Flying Fire continent. Then he flew out of the city. In this way, it would be difficult for someone to track them down. They were teleported to the south-central area of the Flying Fire continent, a distance away from the Dragon Rebel Valley. After several rounds of teleportation, Lu Li snuck into a city and asked scouts of the Qi family for information. Many armies were gathering at the Dragon Rebel Valley. Both the armies of the abyss of demons and humans were here. Many powerful warriors from both sides were here, ready for a big fight. It must have started already. Luli flew on. In 3 or 4 days, he arrived at the Dragon Rebel Valley. He let Lu Ling, an old demon, Peng Hu out. He could already see many scouts on this side. There were scouts from the human race and scouts from the demon abyss. The scouts from both sides were still fighting each other. Lu Li and the others had strong psychic power. The scouts could not find them. Lu Li stopped when he was hundreds of thousands of miles away from the Dragon Rebel Valley. He found some human scouts to ask for information. It had been days since the fight started. Powerful warriors of the human race were all in the Dragon Rebel Valley, killing the armies of the abyss of demons with the formations of destruction there. Not many human warriors were gathered here. Most of them were guarding at the periphery. Only a small number were inside the Dragon Rebel Valley. The Dragon Rebel Valley was a nail in the coffin. If the abyss of demons could not flatten the Dragon Rebel Valley, the human army would not be able to move south. The powerful warriors inside the Dragon Rebel Valley could come out at any time to attack the abdomen and rear of the abyss of demons. The Dragon Rebel Valley was essentially besieged by the armies of the abyss of devils. Lu Ling's face clouded over when she received the news. She could not go into the Dragon Rebel Valley, even if she wanted to. The three of them could not pierce through the abyss of demons into the Dragon Rebel Valley. Unless Lu Li was extremely lucky and happened to arrive at the Dragon Rebel Valley by chance. Lu Li was not so lucky, and he didn't dare to take the risk. Seeing how anxious Lu Ling was, Lu Li thought about it and said, "Sis, I will take you to the rear of the abyss of demon army. You can go around and kill some abyss of demon warriors to relieve some pressure on the Dragon Rebel Valley. We'll kill them and leave. We won't stay at any place." With the void traversing divine technique, unless the demon abyss sends out a demon ancestor, they won't be able to catch up to us. All right. Lu Ling knew Lu Li's ability to fly in the void. Given Lu Li's abilities, as long as he was not being hunted down by the Asmodean Lord, he should be safe. Lu Li put the two into an interspatial artifact and then flew away. He didn't stop near the Dragon Rebel Valley. Instead, he flew through the void several hundred times. Apart from coincidentally encountering the Demon Abyss army when he was flying through the void, he would not make a move. Once he did, he would kill all the abyss of demon warriors nearby to prevent his whereabouts from being exposed. Along the way, Lu Li saw many shocking scenes. He saw many human corpses and many abyss of demon warriors eating human corpses. They were all young people. The abyss of demon warriors liked children the most. It seemed the meat would taste better. At the north of the Flying Fire Land, Lu Li let Lu Ling and Lu Ling out. They rushed toward the cities and mountains. Most abyss of demon warriors were gathered in the cities and mountains. There were many Asmodean slaves in the cities, but in the mountains, there were abyss of demon warriors building Asmodeans. Step by step. The commander of the abyss of demon warriors was prudent. Once a territory was conquered, he would build Asmodeans at once. In this way, when the abyss of demon warriors was defeated, there would be places to defend and places to hide. Lu Li, Lu Ling, and Lu Ling locked onto a building Asmodean Lord. There should be only one Asmodean Lord and tens of thousands of abyss of demon warriors. Lu Li made up his mind after he checked the surroundings. The three of them rushed out. For the first time, Lu Li saw Lu Ling using the dragon reverse transformation. Lu Ling's robe was torn apart as she was covered in black scales. Apart from her face, she was covered in scales. A dragon's tail grew out from her back, and her hands turned into dragon claws. Different from Lu Li's dragon transformation, Lu Ling didn't have wings. Her energy was weaker than Lu Li's as well. Roar! Lu Ling shouted and rushed over. Lu Li followed her at once, not daring to be careless. Old demon Peng Hu rushed in another direction. The three of them charged into the crowd of demon warriors and began their slaughter. When Lu Li made sure that there was only one Asmodean Lord here, he shouted, "Old demon, sister, just injure the abyss of demon warriors. I will take care of them." Lu Ling and old demon Peng Hu found it strange, but they didn't ask. Lu Ling rushed over and scratched at the chests of the abyss of demon warriors. She might tear off their limbs, but she didn't kill them. It was the same for old demon Penghu. He was a quasi-emperor, and Lu Ling had reached the later stage of the Sixth Tribulation after she used the dragon reverse transformation. It was easy for her to kill the average abyss of demon warriors. Lu Li took out the soul-devouring bead and flew around him. Everywhere he went, the abyss of demon warriors would be killed and their souls would be devoured. Lu Li didn't let the two kill the abyss of demon Penghu because he wanted to devour their souls. After devouring souls, the soul-devouring bead could turn them into pure soul energy. Slaughter. The three of them were like 3 tigers in a flock of sheep. None of them could stand up to them. The only Asmodean lord was killed by Lu Li's soul attack. Average abyss of demon warriors were not intelligent, and they didn't know how to run away. Asmodeans? The terrain was complicated. Many abyss of demon warriors only sensed that humans were intruding. All they knew was to charge at the 3. An hour later, all the abyssal demon warriors were killed. This was when Lu Li had to devour their souls. If he just killed them, he would have to do it twice as fast. Let's go. Lu Li took the 2 of them and flew across the void without hesitation. He believed that the abyss of demon warriors would soon be informed by the powerful warriors of the Asmodean abyss, and they would send their Asmodeans here. He must kill as many abyss of demon warriors as possible before the abyss of demon warriors could react. Moving from one place to another was the safest way. After flying across the void twice, Lu Li found another Asmodean lord. There was a city in the city. The city was on a mountain. Tens of thousands of people had become Asmodean slaves. The number of abyss of demon warriors in the city had reached 100,000. There were only 2 Asmodean lords here. Lu Li and the other 2 killed them. In the end, Lu Li killed all the Asmodean lords. Those Asmodean lords no longer had human consciousness and emotions. To put it bluntly, they were just walking dead, zombies. Keeping them alive would be torture. Lu Li might as well set them free. As expected, it took Lu Li and the other 2 hours to kill all the abyss of demon warriors and Asmodean lords. Lu Li flew away with the other 2. The soul-devouring bead had accumulated a lot of soul energy, but Lu Li was not in a hurry to consume it. It would take a long time. He must kill as many abyss of demon warriors as possible before the powerful warriors of the abyss of demon warriors came to the north. For the next half a month, Lu Li and the other 2 kept flying across the void and killing abyss of demon warriors. In half a month, the number of abyss of demon warriors that died in the hands of Lu Li and the other 2 had reached 2 million. Countless Asmodeans? Z was destroyed. The abyss of demons' rear was unstable. Messages asking for help were sent to the front line. Chapter 2892. The 3 Asmodeans were all-powerful warriors. They spread out to look for Lu Li and the others. Asmodeans from the abyss? Z actually had another ability. Asmodeans? There was a teleportation formation in Z. Powerful warriors from the abyss of devils could teleport in. But Lu Li's movements were erratic. He didn't just move around. Sometimes, Lu Li would fly across the void for more than 100 times before stopping. Sometimes, he would stop after more than a dozen times. He didn't follow any pattern. He was just doing whatever he wanted and killing wherever he went. He knew it was time to leave. It had been a long time, and so many Abyss warriors had been killed. If the Abyss of Devils didn't send out more powerful warriors, then they wouldn't be able to reach the Flying Fire Continent. 5 more days. Lu Li decided to stay for another 5 days and then leave with Lu Li and Lu Li. He had killed so many Abyss warriors that his soul-devouring bead was filled with soul energy. He wanted to consume the energy as well. 3 days passed by quickly. Lu Li had just led a team to attack a demon. Lu Li had just killed an Asmodean warrior. Finally, he encountered an Asmodean. Whoosh whoosh. From the distance, a cloud of dark fog flew over and took shape in midair. A powerful demonic power locked on a Lu Li. Then the Asmodean warrior bellowed, "How dare you, human bastard! I will change my surname if I don't tear you into pieces today. Qian? Lu Li frowned. He let Lu Ling, an old demon, Penghu back in at once. Qian was a powerful Asmodean warrior, and Lu Li was no match for it. Without any hesitation, Lu Li released the dragon transformation and smashed at the shadow with his Dharma idol. Asmodean, I have been waiting for you. Today, we will fight to the death. Lu Li shouted. He flew up and formed a blade with origin energy in his hand. He attacked for more than a dozen times. Then, he spread his wings and flew away without looking back. That Asmodean warrior had thought that Lu Li would fight him to the death. Little did he expect that Lu Li would run away after a round of attacks. What was more, Lu Li was as fast as the Asmodean warrior. The Asmodean warrior felt he had been tricked. He flew into a rage and chased after Lu Li in a blur. Lu Li was faster than him by the time for one breath. He was already more than 300 miles away. Lu Li dared not to linger. Even though he knew it would be pointless, he still released the method of wind to see if he could disturb the Asmodean lord. As expected, the demon lord was not affected. As a matter of fact, Lu Li could release the skill left by Soul Jade King. It should be able to affect the Asmodean lord. However, this skill was too far away to be effective, so Lu Li didn't bother to cast it. He didn't want to expose himself. The human and the Asmodean flew at a horrifying speed. In fact, Lu Li only needed the time for a few breaths to cross the void. However, this demon lord obviously wouldn't give him a chance, so he could only continue to flee. Lu Li made a turn and flew towards the south. He had made up his mind that if the demon lord continued to pursue him, he would have to fly towards the south. This place was actually not far from the human territory. It would take him at most 10 days to half a month to get there. Of course, the demon sovereign would definitely send a message to the nearby demon abyss soldiers and ask them to block the way. Therefore, flying across the void was the best way to get rid of the demon lord. Also, Lu Li could not use the dragon transformation for 10 days or half a month. In the hell of the boundless region, Lu Li could do it for a long time. But that was a special case. Lu Li was weak and his speed would be reduced. Therefore, the best way was to fly across the void. While running, Lu Li tried to come up with a solution. Occasionally, he would release some Dharma forms, turning them into blades of origin energy. He wanted to see if he could stop the demon lord. Unfortunately, the demon lord could turn into an intangible form. Lu Li could not lock onto the demon lord. Every time he attacked, Lu Li would be deflected. The demon lord could go around him easily and continue his pursuit. In an hour, the human and the demon lord had covered a distance of tens of millions of miles. The demon lord didn't stop. They were traveling at a similar speed. Lu Li didn't feel weak either. He could hold on for a bit longer. The dragon transformation wouldn't stop automatically. But this was not the way to go on. Lu Li had an idea, which was to ask Demon Penghu to come out and stop the demon lord for a while. In this way, Lu Li would have enough time to fly across the void. That being said, Demon Penghu was Lu Li's servant, and he didn't do anything evil. At least, Lu Li didn't see it. Lu Li couldn't bring himself to let his servant die for him. Lu Li kept on running. Soon, another 2 hours had passed. Lu Li felt he was getting weaker. He didn't dare to go on. When he was weak, his physical body would be weakened and his speed would be reduced. By then, the demon lord would catch up with him. Lu Li had to take the risk. If worse came to worst, he would have to sacrifice Demon Penghu. Lu Li sent a message to Demon Penghu and Lu Ling, telling them to get ready and follow his orders. Then he stopped, took out his horn, and blew into it. At first, he only used the law of sound and the wind spirit skill. Neither of those would work on the powerful demon lord. Lu Li was just trying to numb the demon lord. Why don't you run? Since you're not running, then prepare to die. The demon lord flew over. He took shape in midair and then disintegrated into thousands of swords, stabbing at Lu Li. The black swords condensed from the black gas were extremely powerful. Each one of them had a terrifying pressure and seemed to contain a powerful energy. Lu Li used the trace of Tao and sensed that one of the swords was different, but he didn't attack it. Instead, he built a Dharma form behind him. At the same time, he used origin energy to form a shield and blew the horn. Boom, 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 boom. Many black swords hit Lu Li and caused a violent explosion. Lu Li ignored the other swords and focused on the one with a special chi and energy. When that sword came, Lu Li used Soul Jade King's skill at once. A powerful soul attack spread out. What? That sword became a shadow. The demon lord was surprised. Then he sneered and said, "Soul attack is impressive, but not good enough. Die." The shadow became tangible. A claw reached at Lu Li. It was so fast that the Dharma form behind Lu Li didn't even have time to react. With a muffled sound, Lu Li's armor of origin energy was crushed in an instant. At this critical moment, Lu Li did not fight the Asmodean Lord recklessly. Instead, he took out the painting. He wanted to see if the painting could survive one strike from the Asmodean Lord. If it could, he would be able to attack the Asmodean Lord. What? The demon lord was confused to see Lu Li take out a painting. But he did not stop. He reached out with his claw at once. As far as he was concerned, it was just a painting and he could crush it easily. However, the demon lord soon realized he was wrong. His hand grabbed the painting. He also felt a strong suction force, as if he was going to be sucked in. Oh no! The demon lord tried to step back. But Lu Li's dragon claw reached out and landed on the demon lord's chest. The demon lord felt a sharp pain in his chest. Finally, he came back to his senses. He flew away in a blur. "Don't go, old man. Taste the power of my holy weapon." Lu Li yelled. He controlled the Dharma form to smash at the demon lord while he himself fled in the opposite direction. Chapter 2893. This time, everything went smoothly for Lu Li. After he flew for thousands of miles, he drew a formation in the void and dashed into the small door. By the time that Asmodean Lord caught up with him, the golden door had disappeared. Lu Li had made it. Lu Li didn't linger after he fled. He flew across the void for dozens of times until he was extremely weak. Then, he found a secluded place and let Lu Ling out to protect him. He fell into a deep sleep. He slept for more than a day. When he woke up, he took Lu Ling with him and flew across the void again. This time, he went back to the area occupied by humans at one go. He was relieved to make sure that only humans were around. He took Lu Ling, an old demon, Peng Hu to a city and asked a scout of the Chi family. Both he and Lu Ling were taken aback. The Dragon Rebel Valley had fallen. More than half of the powerful warriors of the Dragon Rebel tribe had died. The Dragon Rebel tribe was in a coma and was saved by a patriarch. Their lives were uncertain. This time, many powerful warriors of the human race had perished as well. Emperor Yi and Emperor Yu had retreated for 300,000 miles with their armies. They had just entered a big city and were ready to defend there. No, the Dragon Rebel tribe is in trouble. Lu Li was worried. He was more and more suspicious that Emperor Yi and Emperor Yu were spies from the abyss of demons. He felt that they were gathering powerful warriors of the human race to harvest the abyss of demons. The Dragon Rebel tribe was in a coma and went to that city. If Emperor Yi and Emperor Yu were spies, then they might take action secretly. Nobody in the outside world knew whether the Dragon Rebel tribe was alive or not. Emperor Yi could say that the Dragon Rebel tribe was too badly injured and could not hold on any longer. Lu Li, I want to go to the Flying Cloud City. Lu Ling thought for a while. She looked at Lu Li with determination and said, "Wait for me outside the city. Why bring our family patriarch out? You take us away." Clearly, Lu Ling was suspicious of Emperor Yi as well. She was smart. If Lu Li could be suspicious, then she must have been suspicious as well. "Let's go." Lu Li waved his hand and said, "I will go with you and bring your family patriarch out. After all, I am a brave and resolute general. There are warriors of the Dragon Rebel tribe in the city. Nobody dares to hurt me." Lu Ling thought about it and nodded. Given her status and abilities, she might not be able to bring the Dragon Rebel tribe away. She would be committing suicide in vain. What surprised Lu Li was why the immortal of Tianzue hadn't done anything yet. Could it be that they hadn't teleported here, but had instead flown all the way here and hadn't reached the Flying Fire Continent yet? The three of them teleported all the way over. This place was not too far away from Flying Cloud City. However, many of the teleportation arrays were broken. Some of them were sealed and could not be used at all. Later on, Luli decided to fly over directly. After 4 or 5 trips, he arrived at the Flying Cloud City. Luli took out a battleship and swaggered toward the Flying Cloud City with the two of them. He took off his mask and put on a splendid outfit. A powerful warrior must have the bearing of a powerful warrior so that others would not see through him. Before they even got close to the city, they could already see a large number of soldiers stationed outside the city. They were so densely packed that it was impossible to see the end of them. The eyes of the soldiers were lifeless. Many of them gathered together listlessly and dejectedly. It seemed like their morale was very low. Lu Li's arrival caught many people's attention. Many checked with psychic power. When they saw that it was Lu Li and Lu Ling, many were excited. What Lu Li didn't know was that the scouts had learned that they had killed a large number of abyssal demon warriors at the enemy's rear. The news had spread across the third heaven. Lu Li already enjoyed high prestige. This time, he had gone to the enemy's rear like Emperor Xiaoyao and slaughtered a large number of abyssal demon warriors. He was regarded as the second Emperor Xiaoyao. Many stood up and saluted to Lu Li with respect. Looking at Lu Li and Lu Ling, many felt they were a couple made in heaven. Lu Li was so young, and yet he was so powerful. He had done so much for the third heaven. He had become the idol of many young people. All hail, General Yong! All hail, General Yong! No one knew who shouted, but countless soldiers followed suit and started to shout. The more chaotic and desperate the world was, the more people expected heroes. Lu Li was not as powerful as Reincarnation Emperor yet, but he was a rising star of the human race. There were almost 10 million warriors stationed nearby. When so many of them shouted at the same time, their voices shook heaven and earth. It was as if a mountain was collapsing. It was shocking. Lu Li didn't want to go out. However, so many people were saluting him and shouting at him. He had to fly out. Waving his hand, he used divine energy to amplify his voice and shouted, "Thank you for your hard work. Don't give up. We will win in the end. Victory, victory, victory." Many people shouted again, filled with excitement. Maybe they were shouting in response to Lu Li's words or to give themselves some comfort and hope. Lu Li flew back and controlled the battlefield to the sky above the city. He used psychic power to check and noticed a castle. There were more than 20 powerful warriors in the castle. Emperor Ya, Emperor Yang, and Emperor Yu should be there. Lu Li's confidence was boosted by so many people's shouts. At the very least, under the current circumstances, nobody dared to touch him. He might be able to take away the dragon rebels. He turned to Lu Ling, who closed her eyes. After a moment, she said with joy, "Family patriarch is still alive. He is over there." Lu Ling pointed to the castle behind Emperor Ya and the others. Lu Li was confident. He flew down with the other two and landed outside the castle. A quasi-emperor was waiting at the door. He bowed to Lu Li and said, "General Yong, Emperor Ya invites you in." Lu Li walked in while Lu Ling and the others had to wait outside. Demon Peng Hu was worried. There were so many semi-emperor realm warriors. Any one of them could kill him. Back in the days, he slaughtered an entire city. If someone wanted to settle the score, he would be doomed. Lu Li went in and took a look. He was familiar with many semi-emperor realm warriors. Emperor Ya, Emperor Yu, and Emperor Yang were here. Emperor Yu smiled. Before Lu Li saluted, he stood up and said with a smile, "Look who is here. Ha, ha, ha. Our little hero is here. Lu Li, with you on the team, the Northern Theater of Operations will be more powerful." As soon as Lu Li came in, he used the Trace of Tao, but he didn't notice anything different about Emperor Ya and Emperor Yu. They seemed to be pure human beings, and there was nothing wrong with them. Lu Li thought about it and saluted to the semi-emperor realm warriors. Then he said, "I'm sorry to disappoint you. I'm not here to serve at the Northern Theater of Operations. I'm not powerful enough, and I can't do much. I am here to help my sister bring Emperor Xiang back to the city of mystic armor to rest. When I'm stronger, I will come back and fight against the armies from the abyss of demons with you. Lu Li came straight to the point. There were so many semi-emperor realm warriors here. He could say this openly, and Lu Ling was a descendant of the flying dragon rebel. In this way, nobody would gossip. Emperor Yu, and Emperor Yang looked at each other. Soon, Emperor Yu shook his head and said, "No, the flying dragon rebel is too injured. You will only hurt him if you take him away. Don't worry. As long as we are alive, nobody can hurt him." Lu Li sneered to himself. The armies from the abyss of demons could come at any time. Emperor Yu wanted the flying dragon rebel to die as soon as possible. Chapter 2894. Lu Li's words were presumptuous. He enjoyed high prestige in the third heaven, but he had not reached the emperor realm. Taking 10,000 steps back, even if he broke through to the overlord level, he would still be the weakest overlord level. There were dozens of overlord level experts here, and he actually dared to offend them? Must he take them away? There was a hint of threat in his words. Not only was he going to disobey Emperor of Cliff, but he was also going to resort to violence. Emperor of Cliff frowned. Emperor Yu pulled a long face. Many Emperor Realm warriors looked awful as well. Wasn't Lu Li being too arrogant? After all, Emperor of Cliff was the commander of the North, and he had made great contributions to the third heaven. If Lu Li disrespected Emperor of Cliff, he would be disrespecting them. What was more, the Dragon Rebel army was not Lu Li's leader. He said it was his sister's leader. The Dragon Rebel Antelope was from the Dragon Rebel army. What did that have to do with Lu Li? Whatever the relationship, Lu Li could not speak like this. Emperor of Cliff said nothing, but Emperor of Sunlight did. He had always been against Lu Li. How could he let go of such a good chance? Emperor of Sunlight sneered and said, "Lu Li, this is not the city of mystic armor. Everyone here is your senior. Can you be more polite?" Emperor of Sunlight's words were calm, but he was trying to sow dissension. Still, Emperor of Cliff said nothing. Lu Li put on a gentle smile. He said that to see people's reactions. He wanted to know how many people were in collusion with Emperor of Cliff. He glanced over and said, "Emperor Xiang is badly injured. The Flying Cloud City may fall at any time. Isn't it the right thing to take Emperor Xiang to the rear to rest? Do you think I will do something bad to Emperor Xiang, or do you want to keep him here? Do you have any special purpose?" Lu Li's words were disrespectful. He was even suspecting all the powerful warriors here. Clearly, he did not trust them and insisted on taking Emperor Xiang away. If Lu Li was strong enough to be on par with Emperor of Cliff, it would be understandable. But Emperor of Cliff had crossed the line to be so arrogant as a warrior who had not reached the Emperor realm. Lu Li had no other choice. If he said in a nice tone, Emperor of Cliff would not let Emperor Xiang go or even talk to him. Cliff Emperor was the commander-in-chief of the Northern Theater of Operations. He could overrule Lu Li's proposal with one word. That was why he spoke so harshly, acting as if a newborn calf was not afraid of a tiger and wanted to cause trouble. He wanted to make the Cliff Emperor and the others attend to one thing and lose sight of the other, forcing him to step back and let him take the dragon rebels away. Impudent! One of the Emperor Realm warriors stood up and snorted. "Lu Li, you have made a great contribution to the third heaven. We respect you. But don't think too highly of yourself. If you dare to spout nonsense again, don't blame us for being merciless." Sunlight Emperor echoed. "Lu Li, this is not a place for you to behave atrociously. Go back to where you came from. If you dare to cause trouble again, you'll be punished by military law." "Ha ha ha." Lu Li laughed. All of a sudden, he used divine energy to amplify his voice and shouted, "You want to punish me? I, Lu Li, risked my life for the third heaven and killed countless powerful warriors of the demon abyss. Today, I'm only here to help the Dragon Rebel Antelope take their king back to heal his injuries. How could you punish me with military law? I must take Emperor Xiang with me. I would like to see who has the guts to kill me today." Lu Li's voice was so loud that people within a radius of 30 miles could hear him. With that said, Lu Li left the hall at once. He waved to Lu Ling and old demon Peng Hu and said, "Let's go. Let's go and pick up Emperor Xiang. If they want to kill us, we will let them." Lu Li was resolute, like a warrior going to his death. He walked toward the castle where the dragon rebels were at step by step. The hall was in chaos. Emperor Ya, Emperor Yang, and the others did not expect that Luli would do this. When Luli showed up, the 10 million warriors shouted at the same time. Everyone heard it. Luli's prestige was high now. His shout had attracted the attention of all the warriors outside. If Emperor Ya and the others would take action, how could they explain to the 10 million warriors outside? The news could not be kept under wraps. The third heaven was in such a state. If there were internal strife among humans, once the news was spread out, nobody would come to the battlefields to fight against the demon abyss anymore. Everyone would flee. By then, the morale of the warriors would collapse, and the third heaven would be beyond salvation. Therefore, even though many great emperors were angry about what Luli had done, they did not think of dealing with him. After all, Luli had not done anything against reason and nature. He had only gone with Lu Ling to pick up the dragon rebels. Lu Ling was the favorite of the dragon rebel clan. All the great emperors had heard of this. It was reasonable that a young generation of the dragon rebel clan would take away their family master. Emperor Ya's face was clouded, but he said nothing. Next to him, Emperor Yu slapped the table and said angrily, "How dare you? Do you have no rules? Do you have no military law? Everyone can come and make a scene. What about our dignity? How can we command the army in the future? Today, the military law is not in order. I think we should just disband now. The armies of the demon abyss don't have to fight back anymore." Sunlight Emperor rolled his eyes and fanned the flames, saying, "Cliff Emperor, Emperor Yu is right. If the military rules, discipline, and prestige are gone, there is no need to fight this war. The morale is low. How can we command the army after Lu Li makes such a scene?" Bang! Emperor Yu could not stand it anymore. He clapped his hands and shouted, "Emperor Yu, go and stop him. If he tries to force his way in, take him down." Whoosh! Emperor Yu had lost his patience. He flew out and arrived at the castle behind him in an instant. This castle was where the dragon rebels were resting. There were two patriarchs of the dragon rebels outside, Patriarch Yu and Patriarch Shan, whom Lu Li was familiar with. Lady Ling, Patriarch Yu and Patriarch Shan were guarding the dragon rebels in the castle to tend to his wounds. They were alarmed by Lu Li's shout and came out. Emperor Yu came over as well. Several great emperors came out from the castle, but they didn't come over. Standing in front of Patriarch Yu and Patriarch Shan, Emperor Yu looked at Lu Li emotionlessly and said, "Lu Li, this is the Northern Theater of Operations. There are military laws and discipline here. This is not a place where you can mess around. Leave now, or I will show no mercy." "Ha ha ha." Lu Li laughed. Pointing at Lu Ling, he said, "This is Emperor Xiang's favorite dragon rebel antelope. She wants to take her family patriarch away to tend to his wounds. What is wrong with that? As I said, if you want to kill me because of this, then go ahead. I, Lu Li, am prepared to die here today." The dragon rebel antelope spoke as well, but she was talking to Patriarch Shan and Patriarch Yu. She cupped her fists and said, "Patriarchs, I want to move our family patriarch to the mystic armor city to tend to his wounds. Please come with us." While she was speaking, Lu Ling said, "Patriarchs, we cannot stay here any longer. I am afraid that if our family patriarch dies here, there might be a mole among the higher-ups of the human race." Patriarch Shan and Patriarch Yu looked at each other. They thought about it and said, "Okay, we will go with Lady Ling and our family patriarch as well." Theoretically speaking, since Lu Ling and the two patriarchs of the dragon rebels were determined to leave, Emperor Yu had no reason to stop them. But at this moment, Emperor Yu took out a saber and shouted coldly, "The commander-in-chief has given the order. Lu Li, if you continue to make trouble, I will have to enforce military law. You have the time for 10 breaths to leave the city, or I will take action." Chapter 2895. Lu Li's words enraged Emperor Yu. How many years had it been since someone talked to him like this? If there were more than 10 million people looking at him, he would have slapped Lu Li to death. Lu Li stepped forward, ready to take action at any time. Emperor Yu's killing intent was growing stronger as well. He took out a black spear, which was horrifying. It was covered with runes and glowing runes. There was a silver airstream flowing around. Needless to say, it was a sovereign weapon. Emperor Yu lifted the spear slowly and shouted to Lu Li, "Lu Li, if you go any further, I will punish you according to the military law." Lu Li did not stop. He walked on step by step. The atmosphere in the city was suffocating. The atmosphere in and out of the city seemed to be frozen at this moment. More than 10 million people were watching Emperor Yu and Lu Li with psychic power. Emperor Yu's face was twisted. He was in a dilemma, trying to decide whether to take action or not. Emperor Yu gave the order. He was the highest commander here. The other great emperors wanted to stop Emperor Yu, but they didn't. Lu Li's arrogance displeased them. They thought Emperor Yu wouldn't kill Lu Li. It would be better for Lu Li to suffer a little. Bang, bang, bang. Lu Li walked forward step by step with determination. There was not a trace of human emotion in his silver eyes. Emperor Yu didn't feel anything, but Patriarch Rain and Patriarch Shan were moved by Lu Li's actions. They secretly mobilized divine energy. They didn't want to take action. They just wanted to protect the castle when the fight started so that the dragon rebel army inside would not be harmed. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. Right at that moment, Emperor Yu came out from the castle with a group of great emperors. He looked at Emperor Yu and nodded. Emperor Yu had no more hesitation. With a cold air rising from his spear, he stabbed at Lu Li's left shoulder. He didn't want to kill, or else he would have stabbed Lu Li's head. There were more than 10 million people at the scene, and they were all looking at this scene. They could capture Lu Li, but they could not kill him. Otherwise, the morale of the army would collapse. Capturing Lu Li wouldn't be a problem. They could say that Lu Li had violated the military law and made a scene in the camp. Any excuse would do. He was so fast, and Lu Li was close. In an instant, he was in front of Lu Li. Lu Li, however, did not try to dodge. The interspatial ring on his hand glowed as he took out an ancient painting in a flash and moved toward the spear. The painting was of a mysterious origin. It could even withstand the attacks from the venerable Asmodean. Now that Emperor Yu was using a spear, Lu Li took it out without hesitation. The spear was so fast that it pierced into the painting at once. To Lu Li's relief, Emperor Yu's powerful attack could not tear the painting apart. The spear went into the painting. Without any hesitation, Lu Li released soul attacks at once. Strands of soul energy gathered and swarmed toward Emperor Yu's soul from all sides. On the other side, Lu Li's hand glowed with origin energy. His sharp claws followed Emperor Yu's arm and reached out. Yu would never have imagined that his spear would pierce into an ancient painting. Moreover, this ancient painting would emit a powerful suction force, which left him bewildered for a moment. By the time he came to his senses, Lu Li's soul attack had arrived. He had a 9th-rank demonic soul in his soul, but he felt he could not stand it. Swish, Lu Li's claws came. Emperor Yu's armor appeared on his arm. That being said, the armor could only protect his arm, not his palm. Lu Li's claws reached out and crushed one of Emperor Yu's palms. Since the palms were crushed, Emperor Yu could no longer control the spear. It was sucked in by the suction force from the ancient painting and vanished. Finally, Emperor Yu came to his senses. He stepped back quickly and went back to Emperor of Cliff. Blood was still gushing out from his arm. His eyes were filled with shock. At this moment, a strange silence fell over the place, so quiet that it was unnerving. At this moment, both inside and outside the city suddenly fell silent. Countless people had shocked expressions on their faces. Emperor Yu was not particularly strong. He was only at the middle stage of the great emperor realm, but he had been famous for at least 10,000 years. To many people, Emperor Yu was a powerful warrior, standing at the peak of the martial arts world. However, he was defeated by Lu Li in a face-to-face fight. How could people accept that their weapons were taken away and their palms were crushed? How old was Lu Li? Lu Li didn't expect things to go so smoothly. Clearly, Emperor Yu had underestimated Lu Li. Also, Lu Li's soul attack was good, and the ancient painting had contributed. What was more, they were inside the city. Emperor Yu was afraid to use his powerful moves. Otherwise, Lu Li would not have succeeded so easily. Anyhow, what was done was done. The warriors outside would not think too much. They would only believe that Lu Li had defeated Emperor Yu. Lu Li did not go into the castle. Staring at Emperor Yu coldly, he asked, "Can I take Emperor Xiang with me now?" The great Emperor Realm warriors looked at each other without saying anything. Emperor Sunlight's eyes flickered. In the end, everyone turned to Emperor of Cliff. Emperor Yu was furious. He took some healing pellets and was about to take action when Emperor Cliff waved his hand and said, "Lu Li, you have no respect for the law. You have no seniors. How dare you hurt people in the base camp? If I don't teach you a lesson, then the Northern Theater of Operations will have no rules and regulations to speak of. I don't care if everyone in the world curses me or humiliates me." Sunlight, Emperor Bu, Emperor of Venomous Beasts, take Lu Li down and put him in prison. Warriors outside the city were taken aback. Lu Li would not be able to win against 3 emperors. If Lu Li was stubborn, he might be killed. Lu Li was the idol of many, one of the heroes of the human race, a rising star. If he died here, it would be a great loss for the human race. Sunlight Emperor was filled with killing intent. Lu Li would fight back. If there was a chance to kill Lu Li, Emperor of Cliff would take the blame. After all, Sunlight Emperor was just following orders. The 3 emperors walked over to Lu Li slowly. Emperor of Venomous Beasts was wearing a bamboo hat. He was emitting a chilly air. His eyes were filled with malice. He stared at Lu Li as if he were a viper. He said coldly, "Kid, surrender. Otherwise, don't blame us for being merciless." Emperor of Venomous Beasts had always been known for his cruelty. He knew very well that Emperor Cliff had sent him to kill Lu Li. Emperor of Venomous Beasts had always been violent. Normally, he would have killed Lu Li when Lu Li was so arrogant. Now that Emperor Cliff had asked Emperor of Venomous Beasts to make a move, Emperor of Venomous Beasts began to show killing intent. It meant that Emperor of Venomous Beasts could kill Lu Li. Waiting to be captured? Lu Li sneered to himself. Would he be able to survive if he was captured by Emperor of Cliff? Lu Li also felt the situation was tricky. He could not fly away now that the 3 of them had locked onto him. Retreat? Once he left, what would happen to the Dragon Rebel? The Cliff Emperor and the others would probably kill the Dragon Rebels right away. If he didn't retreat, how could he fight against 3 emperors? One of them was Sunlight Emperor. He might lose his life here today. Lu Li was caught in a dilemma. He seemed to be in a hopeless situation. "Move!" Sunlight Emperor shouted. The 3 emperors dashed toward Lu Li. Lu Li had no other choice but to release Dharma form and soul attacks. He was ready to fight to the death. Immeasurable God, 3 old guys are bullying a kid. Shame on you. Chapter 2896. What? All the great Emperor Realm warriors felt they were facing a formidable enemy. A surge of divine energy came down from the sky. At this moment, everyone felt suffocated and it was difficult for them to move. Bang, bang, bang. Sunlight Emperor and the other 2 could not move at all. The silver wires hit them. Even though they all had great Emperor weapons and armors, they all felt they had been dealt a heavy blow. The 3 of them were smashed into the ground. Blood gushed out from their mouths. They were injured immediately. Buzzing, a man suddenly appeared in midair. The horsetail whisk flew up. The man grabbed the horsetail whisk and landed next to Lu Li. He did not have any energy. His back was stooped, and his face was covered with age spots. His beard and eyebrows were long. He was wearing an old robe. He looked like an average old Taoist. What? Both inside and outside the city were stirred up. A mysterious Taoist had come and defeated 3 great Emperor Realm warriors in one move. Was Sunlight here? Sunlight Emperor and Emperor of Venomous Beasts were powerful, great Emperor Realm warriors. It could be assumed that this man was as powerful as the Reincarnation Emperor at least. The morale of the human army was low. Though there were many great Emperor Realm warriors at the Northern Theater of Operations, everyone felt they were without a leader. How could they not be excited when such a powerful warrior showed up? Bang! Sunlight Emperor and the other 2 great emperors rushed out from underground. Their faces were covered in blood, but their eyes were filled with shock. They looked at the old Taoist with fear. Emperor Cliff and the others were scared as well. Nobody here had the ability to defeat Sunlight Emperor and the other two great emperors in one move. More importantly, when the old Taoist came, nobody sensed it, which meant that he was far more powerful than they were. Immortal. Lu Li was relieved. Finally, the Immortal of Sin had come. Not only did he solve his crisis, but he also had hoped to reach the third plane. The Immortal of Sin did not lie to him. He had come out. The Immortal of Sin nodded. He looked at Emperor Cliff and then Emperor Yu. All of a sudden, the Immortal of Sin flew out toward Emperor Cliff and Emperor Yu. Emperor Cliff and Emperor Yu were taken aback. They came back to their senses and were ready to fight back. But at this moment, the Taoist robe on Taoist Tianzui's body fluttered. Following that vast divine might once again enveloped all the emperors. Both Emperor Yu and Emperor Yu were unable to move. They could only watch helplessly as the horsetail whisk flew over. The silver threads on the horsetail whisk grew longer, and a few thousand of them flew out to the left and right. However, this time, they did not attack the two. Instead, they entangled the two of them. Old man Tianxin waved his hand, and the horsetail whisk flew back. The Cliff Emperor and the Yu Emperor also flew over. Taoist Tianzui grabbed the horsetail whisk with one hand. The silver threads on the horsetail whisk still wrapped around Cliff Emperor and Yu Emperor like meat dumplings. The two of them were actually unable to move. They tumbled to the ground and looked at Taoist Tianzui in rage. The remaining Emperor-level experts were all shocked, not understanding why Taoist Tianzui would attack the two of them. Was this old Taoist priest a righteous evil? Or was he an expert sent by the demonic abyss? But Lu Li seemed to know the old Taoist. Was he trying to save Lu Li? Although the Cliff Emperor could not move, he shouted angrily, "What are you waiting for? Move and take this Taoist priest down." All the Emperor-level warriors were shocked. The old Taoist priest had taken down Cliff Emperor and the others. Not even the other Emperor-level warriors could defeat the old Taoist priest. The thing was, Cliff Emperor was the commander of the Northern Theater of Operations. Was he going to watch the two die without doing anything? Just as I thought, Lu Li saw that Taoist Tianzui took action. Taoist Tianzui would not act recklessly. He must have his reasons, which might be the truth of Lu Li's speculation. An Emperor-level warrior thought about it, cupped his fists, and said, "Who are you? Why are you attacking us? Do you want to make an enemy of the entire third heaven? Let Cliff Emperor and Yu Emperor go, and we can talk about the rest." Make an enemy of the third heaven? Taoist Tianzui threw him a look and said calmly, "You think you can represent the entire third heaven? Do you have the right?" The Emperor-level warrior sniffled and said, "Cliff Emperor is the commander of our Northern Theater of Operations and one of the commanders to defend against the demonic abyss. Taoist Tianzui, if you attack him, you will be helping a tyrant. You will be making an enemy of the entire third heaven." "Ha ha." Taoist Tianzui smiled. Looking at Cliff Emperor and Yu Emperor on the ground, he said, "You are a bunch of fools. These two have been under the control of the Asmodean Lord. How can you regard them as your commanders? It is a miracle that you are still alive." "Ah, what?" The Emperor-level warriors were stunned. Inside and outside the city, there was an uproar. Many people could not believe it. Their commanders were under the control of the Asmodean Lord. This was shocking news. "Nonsense!" Cliff Emperor yelled in rage. "You are crazy. You are the one who has been under the control of the Asmodean Lord. I came to the Northern Theater of Operations since the invasion of the Abyss of Demons. I have killed countless warriors from the Abyss of Demons, hundreds of demon masters, and 3 Asmodean Lords. If you want to kill me, then kill me. Don't try to sully this Emperor's reputation." Yu Emperor said angrily, "Crazy Taoist, don't talk nonsense. I have reached the Emperor realm for more than 30,000 years. My family is large. How can I surrender to the Abyss of Demons? You are slandering me. You still want to deny it when you are at death's door?" Perfected Heavenly Sin smiled faintly and said, "You may not have demonic aura, but your spirit source is missing. It is probably controlled by one of the Asmodean Lords, right? You are related to the Asmodean Lords, right?" This humble Taoist guess that you must have the demon featherstone used for communication? Do you want this humble Taoist to find it for you? Also, this old man killed the Asmodean lord some time ago. He said that you too were from the saint to the abyss of demons? Out from the Z realm. Saint to the abyss of demons? There is an Asmodean lord in the Z realm. With your weak combat strength, how can you be from the saint to the abyss of demons? Escape from the Z realm? Buzz. Suddenly, energy condensed in midair. Then, an image appeared. A Asmodean lord was kneeling in midair. In front of him was perfected heavenly sin. That Asmodean lord was kowtowing and begging him to spare his life. He also provided some information. Among them, Cliff Emperor and you Emperor were from the saint to the abyss of demons. The information came out from the Z realm. At the end of the image, Patriarch Heavenly Sin killed the Asmodean lord with one palm strike. After the image disappeared, the entire city quietened down. The Overlord-level experts were shocked. It was difficult for them to accept this fact. No wonder, we lose every time. One of the Emperor Realm experts suddenly murmured. He seemed to recall something. His eyes revealed a trace of cold light. In the Northern Plains continent, the Archloot died mysteriously. At that time, this old man could not figure it out. So, it was your doing. Another Emperor Realm expert suddenly became suspicious. He murmured, "Reincarnation, the Arch died in battle. Was it their doing?" The group of great emperors looked at each other in bewilderment. Indeed, many things had happened during this period of time. They had been continuously defeated and many of their people had died. 7 or 8 great emperors had died in battle. Now that they thought about it, there seemed to be many things that were not right. The group of Emperor Realm experts looked at the Cliff Emperor and Emperor Yu differently. Perfected Heavenly Sin spoke again. "Admit it now, and I will give you a quick death. This humble Taoist can guarantee that your entire race will not die. Otherwise, this humble Taoist can use sorcery to make you admit to your crimes. Think about the consequences yourself." The Cliff Emperor and Emperor Yu looked at each other. Their eyes revealed a trace of pain. The Cliff Emperor was silent for a moment. He looked at Perfected Heavenly Sin and asked, "Perfected, you are at the Saint's sovereign realm." Chapter 2897. Even though Cliff Emperor did not say anything, he had admitted it. What did he mean by unforgivable crimes? That meant they had committed many crimes, which meant they were under the control of Lord Asmodean. Instead of doing anything, Immortal Tianze put away his horsetail whisk and said emotionlessly, "Kill yourselves in front of thousands of warriors. I will keep my word and I will protect your race." The two looked at each other, their eyes filled with sadness. They breathed in relief. They bowed to Immortal Tianze and shouted together, "Thank you, Immortal. I am guilty. I will kill myself to apologize to the world. My people were not involved. Please do not implicate the innocent." Ud roared, then raised his hand to circulate his source energy and smashed it against his own head. A dull thud rang out, and Ud fell to the ground. That palm strike had shattered his own head. Looking at Emperor Yu's body, Cliff Emperor said to Immortal Tianze after a moment of silence, "2 Lord Asmodeans have come to the abyss of devils." Before he could finish his words, he began to bleed from his eyes, ears, nose, and mouth. He fell to the ground. Luli used psychic power to check and found that his soul had exploded. Clearly, Lord Asmodean had used a secret skill on him. Once the situation at the Abyss of Devils was exposed, he would die immediately. 2 great emperors had died. One of them was the commander of the Northern Theater of Operations. Their deaths were tragic, but at this moment, nobody felt sorry for them. Instead, people looked at them with disgust and hatred. Clearly, the two were not controlled by force. They were controlled voluntarily. In other words, the two were captured by Lord Asmodean and then they surrendered. Lord Asmodean released the two after they were controlled. The effect of this at the Abyss of Devils was remarkable. During this time, the human race had been losing many battles. The human elites had suffered heavy casualties. Many great emperors had fallen. If it wasn't for the appearance of Immortal Tianzue, if the Cliff Emperor continued to lead the army, the elites of the human race would continue to gather and be cut down like chives. At that time, the third heaven would really be beyond redemption. Lord of the infinite, death is the end of enmity. I have said that I will protect their people. Please, for my sake, do not target their people. Since immortal Tianzue had spoken, the great emperors nodded. Just now, they clearly heard that Taoist Tianzue was a saint emperor. It was a saint emperor, and a living saint emperor at that. This was an absolute peak expert, unrivaled in the third heaven. The third heaven was about to be destroyed, and the appearance of the saint emperor meant that the third heaven could be saved. Who would dare to disobey Taoist Tianzue's words? Plop! An emperor-level expert knelt down first and shouted, "Enlightened Master, the third heaven is facing a great calamity. Billions of people are in dire straits. If the demonic abyss army continues to wreak havoc, all the humans in the third heaven will become demonic slaves. The common people will be in danger. Enlightened Master, please take charge of the situation and lead us to resist the demonic abyss." Plop! All the sovereigns, including Sunlight Emperor, knelt down on one knee and shouted together, "Immortal, please preside over the situation and fight against the demonic abyss together. Reverend, please take charge of the situation and fight against the demon abyss together." Outside the city, the soldiers all knelt down and cried out. Hot tears flowed from the eyes of countless people, feeling as if they had found their backbone and hope. The Saint Emperor was a more powerful existence than the Reincarnation Emperor and Candle Heaven Emperor. Taoist Tianzue's face was still expressionless. He stood with his hands clasped behind his back. At this moment, people could vaguely feel the domineering aura released from his body. He glanced at the crowd and said, "I can preside over the situation, but you have to promise me 2 conditions. Enlightened Master, please say it." All the sovereigns immediately said with joy, as long as Taoist Tianzue was willing to help, not to mention 2 conditions, they would agree even if there were 100 conditions. The third heaven was destroyed and their territory was gone. Even if they escaped with their families, they would wander around the world like wandering beasts. Taoist Tianzue pondered for a moment and said, "First, the entire third heaven must listen to my orders. Anyone who disobeys will be punished together. Second, no one is allowed to question any of my orders. Once I give an order, it must be carried out immediately." Taoist Tianzue wanted absolute power. If it was someone else, even Candle Heaven Emperor and the others might hesitate. But in the face of a Saint Emperor, no one dared to hesitate. Sunlight Emperor and the others agreed. "Okay, troops, go back to your camps." Immortal Heavenly Sin waved his hand and said, "All the martial emperors, follow me." Little Lu, you come in too. Let the Dragon Rebel team rest in peace and recuperate. As long as I am here, no one can hurt him." A sovereigns arranged for the bodies of Emperor Cliff and Emperor Yu to be taken away. Several sovereigns of the Emperor's realm also went to the camp to manage the troops. Luli let Lu Ling and old demon Peng Hu out. After giving them some instructions, he followed the others into the castle. Half a day later, an announcement was spread across the entire third heaven. All the Northern Theater of Operations supported Taoist Tianzue as the supreme commander. Taoist Tianzue also requested all the powerful warriors above the sovereigns of the realm to teleport to the Flying Cloud City at once to discuss the plan to fight against the demons. The order was overbearing, even unreasonable. There were countless demon abyss warriors and powerful warriors in the Southern Theater of Operations. If Emperor Candle Heaven and the others came, what if the demon abyss army attacked? But when the news was spread out, the entire third heaven was shocked. Many people cried tears of joy. Many people ran around the city to spread the news. Saint Emperors, there were still living Saint Emperors of the third heaven, and they had come out to take charge. Many people cursed Emperor Cliff and Emperor Yu. Some even clamored to wipe out Emperor Cliff and Emperor Yu's entire family. Many sovereigns of the Southern Theater of Operations were excited. But if they went to the Flying Cloud City, who could guard here? While they were at a loss of what to do, 3 mysterious powerful warriors came from the Southern Theater of Operations. One of them was no weaker than Emperor Candle Heaven, if not stronger. All three were Taoist masters. Their names were Ziyun, Zilin, and Zilu. All three were sovereigns of the realm, and they claimed to be the disciples of Taoist Tianzi. The three represented Taoist Master Tianzi to stabilize the situation and teleport everyone to the Flying Cloud City. This time, Emperor Candle Heaven and the others did not hesitate. If Taoist Master Tianzi and the other three were from the Demon Abyss, the four of them could defeat all the powerful warriors of the Third Heaven. Then there would be no need for schemes. They could just go to the Northern Theater of Operations. Qi Wanshan was also very excited. He personally ordered the Qi family to cooperate with them. They opened countless space doors and teleported those powerful warriors to the Flying Cloud City. More hidden experts also appeared. The appearance of Saint Emperor made these experts unable to sit still. At this moment, they still didn't come out to fight. Could it be that they wanted to watch the third heavenly layer be destroyed? Emperor Freedom also appeared. He flew towards the Flying Cloud City in response to Taoist Master Tianzui's order. Previously, he never listened to orders. He refused even when asked to be the commander of the Northern Theater of Operations. The appearance of a Saint Emperor caused the Third Heaven to become unprecedentedly united. The Third Heaven was the home of all the experts. This was their root. No one wished for the Third Heaven to be destroyed. Everyone wanted to chase the evil Demon Abyss soldiers back to the Demon Abyss. Chapter 2898. Experts gathered in Flying Cloud City. After Immortal Tianzui came out, more than 10 hidden monarchs responded. 2 of them were late monarchs who had disappeared for many years. Unexpectedly, they all came out as soon as Immortal Tianzui came out. Saint Emperor. Third Heaven hadn't had a Saint Emperor for many years. Everyone thought that there was no more Saint Emperor, but unexpectedly, one came out at the critical moment. This person took down 2 spies of Demon Abyss and acted in an upright manner. This won everyone's support. Of course, even if this person had a bad character, no one would care too much about it. Third Heaven was on the brink of life and death. Everyone didn't know what to do and couldn't see any hope. Now that a Saint Emperor finally came out, everyone naturally gathered around him to fight against the enemy. Immortal Tianzui had lived for a long time and was once an overlord. However, he didn't reveal his previous name. Otherwise, the entire Third Heaven would be in an uproar. Tu Qianjun. That was a name that terrified Third Heaven 60 to 70,000 years ago. It was also a very dark time for Third Heaven, and it was all because of Immortal Tianzui alone. Taoist Master Tianzui's clan was exterminated by an expert. Although Taoist Master Tianzui killed that enemy, he also went crazy and killed experts everywhere. Killing had become second nature. Once he went crazy, if there was a city nearby, that city would be finished. At that time, Immortal Tianzui slaughtered at least 10 million people. Reincarnation Emperor even chased after him, but Immortal Tianzui mysteriously disappeared. This matter was actually remembered by many people because many of them were born 60 to 70,000 years ago. Some of them were already experts at that time, and some even broke through the monarch realm. However, Immortal Tianzui's appearance changed a lot. His personality also changed completely. He even became a Taoist, so no one recognized him for the time being. Immortal Tianzui used to be an overlord and was very skilled in commanding troops. He quickly reorganized the army and no longer divided it into the Northern Legion and the Southern Legion, but into 3 legions. One legion was commanded by Emperor Candle Heaven, one by his eldest disciple Daoisun, and the last by Emperor Unfettered. After Emperor Unfettered came to Flying Cloud City, he met with Immortal Tianzui and agreed to fight against the enemy with him. Although he commanded a legion, it had very few people, no more than a few thousand. His army was called the Carefree Army. They were not stationed in the war zone, but were mobile. One reason was to provide support, and the other was to harass the rear of the demonic abyss. Luli became a member of this legion. He wanted to see Emperor Unfettered at once. Emperor Unfettered had done Luli a great favor and Luli was grateful. Now that Emperor Unfettered had shown up, how could Luli not pay him a visit? The Emperor of Freedom was an aloof person. He was indifferent to most people, but he was kind to Luli. They chatted for a while, but he didn't give Luli any advice. The path Luli was taking was different from his. He just told Luli not to join the fight and to reach the Emperor realm as soon as possible. Luli told a mortal of sin and went back to the city of mystic armor on his own. Demon Penghu stayed at the Xiaoyao Legion. A quasi-emperor could be of great help. It was pointless for Luli to stay with him. Qi Huangshan stayed. Originally, when the reincarnation emperor died, Qi Huangshan didn't want to participate in the battle. Now that Taoist Tianzue came out, he didn't hesitate to come out. Qi Huangshan was of great help. Only the Qi family could build interspatial portals. No one else could. Tian Yazi went out as well. He was assigned to the Purple Cloud Legion to fight against the Abyss Demon Army. Still, Emperor Candleheaven was sent back to the chilly winterland. Was it because Immortal of Sin didn't like him? Or was it because Immortal of Sin wanted Luli to go to the Southern Theater of Operations? Luli was not worried about the safety of the city of mystic armor anymore. With Immortal of Sin here, nobody dared to mess with him. Every time there was a meeting, Immortal of Sin would ask Luli to stand behind him. This was an indication of his attitude. Emperor Candleheaven, Phoenix Queen, Sunlight Emperor, and the others were in the hall. They could tell the relationship between Immortal of Sin and Luli. Anyone who dared to mess with Luli at this time would have to consider the wrath of Immortal of Sin. Immortal of Sin was in the north, but he didn't lead the army to launch a counterattack right away. Instead, he began to build a defense line himself. He was very good at sacred glyphs. Back in the days, he was a master in this field. Humans needed a victory. They had lost so many times in a row that their morale was low. If they couldn't win 1 or 2 battles, it would be difficult for them to win the next 1 or 2. Immortal of Sin's purpose was to give everyone a firm belief that they could win if they followed him. Luli didn't care about this. With Immortal of Sin here, the safety of the Flying Dragon Rebel was not to be worried. Lu Ling stayed at the Flying Cloud City to take care of the Flying Dragon Rebel as a show of filial piety. After all, the Flying Dragon Rebel had been good to her over the years. Luli started closed-door cultivation as soon as he came back, focusing on reaching the Emperor realm. Everything was under control now. Luli was much calmer. He was confident that he could reach the Emperor realm now. Emperor of Freedom took the initiative with a group of powerful warriors. Their strategy was to go deep into the enemy's rear. Only 100 warriors went with him. All of them were agile warriors with various escape skills. Their purpose was to buy time for the front line. The 100 warriors were ready to die. With Immortal of Sin here, the Flying Dragon Rebel didn't have to worry about their families after their deaths. Immortal of Sin had guaranteed that the Third Heaven and the Abyss of Demons would win this war. If the Flying Dragon Rebel died, nobody would dare to touch their families as long as Immortal of Sin was alive. Emperor of Freedom and the 100 warriors all had strange skills. 6 of the great emperors went to the rear of the enemy's rear. Soon, the area occupied by the Abyss of Demons was in flames of war. A group of powerful warriors wandered around like dragons, killing warriors of the Abyss of Demons. Powerful warriors could inflict great damage on average warriors of the Abyss of Demons. Tens of thousands of warriors of the Abyss of Demons could be wiped out in a short time without powerful warriors of the Abyss of Demons. As expected, the Abyss of Demons stopped attacking. Instead, they sent many Asmodeans back to kill powerful warriors of the human race. As soon as the Asmodeans took action, more warriors died. The 100 warriors left a mark of their lives. One by one, they began to fade away. They would forever stay at the north of the Flying Fire Continent. 3 months later, Emperor of Freedom's 100 warriors were reduced to 26. One of them, a great emperor, had passed away. But the result was impressive. According to the investigation of some elite scouts of special races, in 3 months, the 100 warriors from the Abyss of Demons had killed 7 to 8 million warriors of the Abyss of Demons and countless Asmodeans. Many Asmodean puppets that were constructed were destroyed as well. The Asmodean puppets were not only a base for the abyss of demons, but also a means of teleportation. They could be used to mobilize armies and powerful warriors from the abyss of demons. Immortal of Sin was ready. He sent a message to Emperor of Freedom and the others to retreat through a special method. Many armies were mobilized to the front line. Immortal of Sin was ready for the first battle with the abyss of demons. Chapter 2899. Luli did not ask for help when he was trying to reach the Emperor realm. Once he asked for help, it meant that he was afraid. Once a person was afraid, there would be demons in their hearts. Without the courage to press forward, how could a warrior reach the Emperor realm? Luli was confident. His source of energy was abundant, his physical body was strong, and so was his soul. He had reached the later stage of the Emperor realm and was very close to the peak of it. Last time, when Luli killed so many abyssal demon warriors, his soul was devoured by the soul-devouring bead. The absorption of so much soul energy had strengthened Luli's soul. He felt his soul energy was about to materialize. Once it did, his soul would be as powerful as a Saint King's. Luli did not take the test at the city of mystic armor, nor did he go to the platform for trials. Instead, he planned to take the test in the wild. He did not tell anyone because he did not want the Lu family to worry about him. If someone was worried about him, he would have more concerns and he would not be able to focus on the test. After he came out from cultivation, he did not ask about the third plane or the situation at the front. He did not even ask if Lu Ling had come back. He wanted to forget everything and focus on reaching the Emperor realm. He chose another territory to the north of the city of mystic armor, which belonged to a major family of the chilly winterland. He stealthily sneaked all the way here and found a deep forest. Making sure that there was nobody within a radius of 3,000 miles, he let Blood Fairy out and asked her to build formations. Even though he was confident, he wanted to be careful. This heaven's test would be different from other heaven's tests. It would be hundreds of times more powerful. After the heaven's test, he would have an emperor's body and his abilities would be enhanced. The risk was proportional to the reward. During this time, Blood Fairy had been trying to decipher the ancient painting and the ring. She hadn't been able to refine the ancient painting or the ring that came with the horn. She hadn't been able to refine either. Blood Fairy had been regretting it. After her evolution, she had been studying the two treasures. Unfortunately, the two treasures were too mysterious. Blood Fairy had been studying them for a long time, and yet, she could not make a breakthrough. That being said, her ability to build formations had improved after the evolution. Luli wanted her to build some formations to help him fend off the heaven's test. It would take time to build a formation, but Luli was not in a hurry. He sat on a mountain to consume the pellets. At the same time, he adjusted his mind so that he could be absolutely calm. 5 days later, Blood Fairy finished building the formations. First, she built a formation that could trigger heaven's tests. Then, she built several defensive formations. Thunderbolts, flames, and other types of energy would be dispersed when they entered the formations. In this way, Luli would feel less pressured. Begin. Luli used psychic power to check the surroundings. Making sure that nobody was around, he stood up with his hands clasped behind his back. His robe and hair were fluttering in the wind. Luli felt like he was floating in the air. The divine rune lit up and a ray of light shot up to the sky. At the same time, the 3 shields lit up, covering Luli and the entire mountain. A surge of might came down from the sky. Following that, many clouds gathered above Luli's head. As the clouds gathered, the mighty might became more and more horrifying, suffocating Luli. Blood Fairy immediately began to flee. Otherwise, if she stayed, she would be blasted to pieces. Come on. Gazing into the sky, Luli's eyes glowed. He did not do anything. He just stood there with his hands clasped behind his back. There were 7 stages of heaven's tests in total. The first stages were not a problem for him. If he could not handle the first stages, then why would he go through the heaven's test? Boom, boom, boom. From the sky came a thunderous noise that spread to an area with a radius of 3,000 miles. People in the nearby cities were alarmed. Countless people soared into the sky and looked over, their faces filled with shock. Is someone going through a heaven's test? Such horrifying might. How many heaven's tests has it been? I think it is at least the 6th. Let's go take a look. Let's go and see which powerful warrior is coming from. Is there a lord or a great emperor coming out? Wow. If it is a great emperor, then it will be impressive. I must go and take a look. There were 4 small cities nearby and 1 medium-sized city. There were no experts in the cities, and there was only 1 lord in the medium-sized city. That was why Luli chose to go through the heavens test here. If there were no powerful warriors, then nobody would disturb him. Tens of thousands of people flew out from the 5 cities and came from all sides. However, before they could get close to Luli, they were frightened by the might above his head. The might was horrifying. They felt if they were too close, they would be crushed to death by the might, let alone the thunderbolts. The mountain where Luli was at had several shields that could isolate psychic power. Luli had told Blood Fairy to do this in case someone nearby would use psychic power to check and disturb his heaven's test. Splash! High in the sky, a bolt of lightning with a length of 2 miles came out. Following that, a purple dragon hovered in the sky and then smashed down. At that moment, the might was extremely horrifying. Many onlookers felt their hearts were about to jump out. This must be the 7th heavens test. I have seen the 6th heavens test, and it is nothing compared to this. Someone is going to reach the Great Emperor Realm. Who is it? There are no more Great Emperor Realms nearby. They have all gone to the Flying Fire Continent. Is it that warrior from the City of Mystic Armor? You mean General Yong-e? Didn't he reach the Great Emperor Realm a long time ago? Why is he still going through the heavens test? Don't talk, and don't use psychic power to check. Don't disturb that warrior. Today, we may have the honor to witness the birth of a Great Emperor Realm warrior. After a moment of hubbub, the crowd quieted down. This was the 7th heavens test for sure. If the warrior could pass the heavens test successfully, then a great emperor would be born. This was a chance that came once in a blue moon, enough for many to brag about for the rest of their lives. Impressive. Luli ignored everyone else. He kept his eyes on the sky. When the purple thunderbolt came down, Luli did not use the dragon wrestling skill, nor did he use the dragon transformation or the armor of origin energy. He was relying on his physical strength. Boom! The thunderbolt was as thick as a human head. All the thunderbolts struck into Luli's body, but he did not tremble one bit. Only his hair began to smoke and his robe was burned. Well, Luli checked his body. He was satisfied. The thunderbolt was powerful, but it did not cause him any harm. He began to use the lightning gathering formation to absorb the thunderbolts. As long as the thunderbolts did not cause him great harm right away, he could absorb the energy of the thunderbolts. Boom, 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 boom. The thunderbolts kept on coming. The thunderbolts were getting more and more powerful. Luli never used the dragon transformation or the armor of origin energy. He only used the dragon wrestling skill during the last few thunderbolts. He didn't want to get hurt. The next few heavens tests would be more and more horrifying. If he were to get hurt now, how could he survive later? Chapter 2900. The second level of punishment was thunder and lightning. Thunder and lightning were accompanied by fire. This time, the fire was different from the last one. It was much stronger. But for Luli, the fire posed no threat. Apart from some blackening on his skin, he was unharmed. The third level of punishment was a combination of thunder and fire. It was much more powerful than the first and second levels. This time, Luli had to use the dragon transformation. It was not because he could not stand it, but because he did not want to be injured. The fourth level of punishment was chaos. This kind of punishment had always been horrifying, but Luli had some experience in dealing with it. This time, he passed it with ease. After 4 levels of punishment, Luli was unharmed. That being said, he did not relax at all. There were 3 more, and they would be more powerful. Whoosh, whoosh, all of a sudden, a gust of wind sprang up. There was water vapor in the air. Dragons of wind and water came into being. So did dragons of fire and thunder. The 4 dragons whooshed down toward Luli, wind, fire, water, and thunder. For the first time, Luli used the origin energy armor. He had faced this kind of punishment when he was at the 6th level. For different kinds of energy came down. If one was not strong enough, one would be blasted into pieces by the 4 kinds of energy. The 4 kinds of energy were incompatible with each other. Now that they were mixed together, they could explode easily. Once the energy exploded inside one's body, not even a sovereign realm warrior could survive. Therefore, Luli must use the origin energy armor to block the 4 kinds of energy outside his body. Boom! The 4 dragons roared and struck Luli's origin energy armor at the same time. Luli's origin energy armor immediately exploded, but the most powerful energy was neutralized. Luli was currently in the dragon transformation state, so he easily withstood the remaining energy shockwaves. Luli had passed the 5th level of punishment successfully. He breathed in relief. He was confused. There were 2 more levels of punishment, but the punishment of mind and soul had not come yet. Would the punishment of mind and soul come at the end? Or would it not? Swish, swish, high up in the sky, many dragons of thunder were rolling around in the clouds. The sky was getting brighter. More and more dragons of thunder were brewing, but they did not come down. Those dragons of thunder were not simple ones. They were of various colors, and the energy they emitted was frightening. What kind of punishment is this? I have never seen or heard of it. There are so many lightning dragons. There are at least 1,000 of them now, right? It's still brewing. Could it be that it's going to be struck by 10,000 lightning bolts? 10,000 lightning bolts? How could the 7th heavenly tribulation be so terrifying? No wonder there are so few Emperor-ranked experts. Can ordinary people survive this? Everyone, stop arguing. Don't disturb Senior's tribulation. It was a pity that the divine inscriptions on the other side blocked off his divine sense. He wondered how the Senior undergoing the tribulation inside was doing. Don't let anything happen to you. The spectators in the surroundings were frightened. Many of them retreated thousands of miles away, afraid that they would be implicated. If they were implicated, any strand of the lightning would turn them into fine powder. The martial artists nearby were not very strong. Most of them were at the 4th tribulation. With their strength, they would be burned to death by the thunder fire, let alone being struck by the thunder lightning. Boom, 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 more and more thunderbolts were brewing. There were 9 different colors. Luli was getting more and more worried. Under such circumstances, his heart would become more and more oppressed. It wasn't that hard to bear with it all at once, but he felt that every minute and second was so unbearable. 5,000, 8,000, 10,000. As expected, there were 10,000 thunderbolts. Then, the thunderbolts didn't come down at once. Instead, they began to merge in pairs. When they were all merged, they would merge in pairs again. This time, the people nearby were freaked out. Any random thunderbolt could tear them apart. Now, the 10,000 thunderbolts were merging together. Would the people below be blasted into pieces? Not even a sovereign realm warrior could survive this. What? Luli's expressions were clouded. This heavenly tribulation seemed to be more than normal. Could it be because he possessed origin energy? The heavenly tribulation hadn't come down yet, and the merging hadn't been completed yet. He already felt suffocated. Was he sure that he wouldn't be turned into flames when the lightning struck down? At this moment, he even had the instinct to run away. He sensed fatal danger. His confidence was shaken. He felt that he could not withstand the thunderbolts. He could not run away. Soon, he made up his mind. He could not run away. Otherwise, he would never be able to reach the sovereign realm in this lifetime. The heavenly tribulation was a test for him. If he could not take this step, he would not be recognized by the heavens and could not become a powerful warrior. If he was scared, cowardly, how could he survive the soul trial later? Come on. Luli threw caution to the wind. He threw caution to the wind and gazed into the sky with fervent eyes. He was ready to meet his death. If he could not survive this thunderbolt, then he would die here today. The thunderbolts continued to merge. Soon, they merged into one. The thunderbolt was not large, only as thick as a human. It was glowing in 9 colors. but the chi and energy it emitted made Luli feel like it was released by a super sovereign realm warrior. The moment the thunderbolt struck, his body and soul began to tremble. He had a clear feeling he could not stand it. He was about to be turned into ashes. Buzzing, he took out the ancient painting and held it above his head. The ancient painting was a piece of treasure, no weaker than a holy weapon. If it was destroyed, it would be a great loss. But Luli could not worry about that now. What was the point of keeping the ancient painting when he was dead? Boom! The 9-colored thunderbolt struck down. The runes and shields built by Blood Fairy were shattered and vanished like bubbles. Those in the distance could see what was happening to Luli now. "It is Yong," someone yelled in surprise, but someone next to him covered his mouth at once. The thunderbolts were so horrifying. If Luli was distracted and he was killed, then all of them would die with no regrets. Boom! The thunderbolt landed on the ancient painting, which was knocked away. The thunderbolt continued and landed on Luli's origin energy armor. His origin energy armor was torn apart almost instantly. The thunderbolt was so powerful that it could destroy everything. Boom! In the end, the thunderbolt landed on Luli's body. Following that, under the pressure of heaven, the mountain Luli was on was shattered. The entire mountain was turned into dust and vanished from everyone's sight. Not only did the mountain Luli was on disappear, but a bottomless pit with a radius of more than 1,000 feet appeared where he was. Dust was everywhere, covering the sky and the earth. Everyone's vision was obscured by the dust. Facing such horrifying thunderbolts, no one dared to release psychic power for fear that they would disturb Luli. Luli was smashed into the deep pit. The scales on his body were cracked, and his body was charred. It was not just his skin, but his entire body, including his internal organs, that was charred. Apart from his pellet and soul, every part of his body was charred and destroyed. Chapter 2901. Could a person survive after being burnt to a crisp and losing all signs of life? Average warriors would not be able to survive, not even those of the Emperor realm. But not Luli. Luli's elixir glowed. Following that, the divine chain emerged. The source of life in his body was growing rapidly. The divine chain had a miraculous ability. When Luli's source of life was drained, it would protect him and help him recover. This was not the first time. It had protected him many times. With the source of life, the person could not die as long as his soul was still intact. That being said, Luli's soul was under attack as well. His consciousness was blurred and his soul could collapse at any moment. Right at that moment, another piece of Luli's artifact came into play, the soul-devouring bead. With a glare, the soul-devouring bead flew out from the interspatial ring and entered Luli's soul. The soul-devouring bead devoured all the energy in Luli's soul and transformed it into special energy to replenish his soul. Luli's soul came back to his senses. He felt the vigor in his body. Without any hesitation, he mobilized his source energy. He consumed all the energy in his body and began to rebuild his physical body. Destruction and rebirth. This was the dual nature of thunderbolts. His body was burnt and destroyed. Since he was still alive, he could be reborn with the help of thunderbolts. The reborn body would be stronger than before. It would become the body of an emperor. Luli's body was filled with residual energy of 9-colored thunderbolts. The energy was absorbed by him. His physical body was rebuilt, head, body, hands, feet. It only took Luli the time for a dozen breaths to go from destruction to rebirth. He realized that his physical body was rebuilt and it was stronger. His soul trembled when he sensed the surging energy. He had finally built the body of an emperor. In other words, he was at the Emperor realm now? Wait, Luli suddenly understood. This was only the 6th level of tribulation. Was there one more to go? Soul tribulation? When a physical body is rebuilt, the soul must go through a baptism. Only in this way can the body transform. I am right. Luli nodded. While checking his body, he waited for the arrival of the soul tribulation. Right at that moment, a small thunderbolt struck down from the sky. The thunderbolt didn't cause any harm to Lu Li, but it made him feel like the scenery around him had changed. He found that his surroundings were hazy, and he couldn't see anything clearly. He was in a trance. He didn't move. He knew that the heart-soul tribulation was coming. This was all an illusion. His heart didn't waver at all. Since it was all an illusion, what was there to be surprised about? No matter what happened, he would not have any fluctuations in his heart. Woo woo woo, a dark cloud floated over, and suddenly a demon lord appeared. That demon lord was Qian Yuan. Back then, Lu Li was almost killed by Qian Yuan. Qian Yuan condensed in midair, took a look at Lu Li, looked up to the sky, and laughed. Ha, ha, ha. Bastard of the human race, I can't believe you are actually going through the tribulation here. Even the heavens are helping me. Go to hell. Qian Yuan turned into strands of black mist and rushed towards Lu Li. Then, he appeared next to Lu Li, and a black claw suddenly grabbed at Lu Li's chest. Lu Li didn't move. He knew this was an illusion. This was the chilly winter land, and he was far away from the battle zone. Powerful warriors from the abyss of demons couldn't appear here, and it couldn't be such a coincidence. Therefore, this Qian Yuan must be fake. Since it was fake, then he couldn't move. He couldn't move with the illusion. Otherwise, he would be led by the illusion and go to the abyss of evil, sinking into it forever. Bang! Lu Li felt a sharp pain. There seemed to be a hole in his chest. He could see that his chest was bleeding, his ribs were broken, and his internal organs were crushed. At this moment, Lu Li even doubted that this was real. Otherwise, he wouldn't be in so much pain, and his chest wouldn't be bleeding. His whole body felt like he was really hurt. Ha ha ha, humble human, go to hell. Qian Yuan laughed again. He waved his claw at Lu Li's arm. Lu Li still didn't move, letting Qian Yuan crush his arm. Then Qian Yuan reached for his other arm. Lu Li didn't move either. He was sure that his judgment was correct. This was an illusion. This was the soul tribulation. There were no such coincidences in this world. The reason why he felt pain was because his soul was going through the tribulation. The pain was also an illusion in his soul. Arms, legs, and head. Lu Li felt he was being crushed. At this moment, his consciousness blurred again as if he had been killed. But inside Lu Li's soul, his mind was still as water and as steady as a rock. Buzzing, Qian Yuan disappeared. Lu Li's consciousness gradually came back. He was relieved to find that his body was fine and everything around him was in chaos. That was the tribulation of soul. Luckily, he didn't do anything. Otherwise, nobody could tell what would have happened. Good. Right at that moment, a familiar voice suddenly came, which shocked Lu Li's soul. A person flew over from the distance with a kind smile on her face. She said, "Congratulations, Lu Li. You have finally reached the Emperor realm. You didn't disappoint me." Devil. Lu Li didn't expect that the devil was here. It had been years, and the devil was still the same. She walked toward Lu Li step by step. Her face was filled with kindness. Lu Li felt she was like a mother to him. The devil smiled. She walked to Lu Li and said again, "Lu Li, do you know why I don't want to see you? Do you know why I know about the Holy Sky Island? Do you want to know who I really am?" "Yes," Lu Li replied instinctively. The great demon king was an eternal mystery in his heart, a mystery that he wanted to solve the most. "I don't want to see you because I went to accomplish something important. I know about the Holy Sky Island because I brought two Qianjun and the others there. As for who I really am," as the great demon king spoke, her face changed and her body also changed. Her body suddenly turned into a shadow, then black scales appeared all over her body. Her face also became ferocious and terrifying. Most importantly, there was a vertical eye between her eyebrows. She laughed and said, "I am the Asmodean Emperor of the Asmodean Abyss. Now you have two choices. Surrender to the Asmodean Abyss or die." Lu Li's soul trembled. He didn't expect that the devil was a powerful warrior from the Asmodean Abyss. Was this all part of a scheme? The devil wanted to control all the powerful human warriors through immortal Tianzue and then kill them all at once. No, Lu Li came back to his senses soon. He said with disdain and determination, "I choose death." Bring it on. Then I will grant you your wish. Chapter 2902. Not long afterward, Luli came back to his senses. He noticed that the surroundings had returned to normal. He was still in the pit, and his body was intact. The air was fresh, and the world was beautiful. The dark clouds above his head dispersed, revealing the sunlight. It's over. Everything is over. The seventh heaven tribulation is over. Luli breathed heavily. The seventh heaven tribulation was horrifying. Both the 9-colored thunderbolts and the tribulation of mind and soul almost made his soul vanish. Luckily, he made it. Everything was over. He had transformed wholeheartedly. Finally, he reached the Emperor realm and became a powerful warrior. Whoosh! Right at that moment, a man flew over from the distance. That man looked over with worry and murmured from the distance, "General Young-E, are you okay?" It was a lord, an old man. The worry on his face and in his eyes was sincere. It seemed that he was an onlooker who flew over to show his concern after the heaven tribulation was over. That warrior arrived at the pit and saw Luli lying on the ground. The warrior took out a pellet and flew down. It seemed he was going to feed Luli the pellet. Luli felt something was off. He was going through a heaven tribulation. How could an average lord have the courage to get close to him? What was more, Luli was not familiar with this lord. This man's actions were too abrupt. Luli suddenly opened his eyes, glanced over, and said, "Stop." That lord was stunned for a moment. Then, he put on a ferocious expression. His face began to change into a face that Luli was very familiar with. Flames of evil rose from him as well. He grinned and said, "Luli, today is the day of your death. I have a piece of news for you. I went to the city of mystic armor, and I have killed all your people. None of them are left." Ha 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 ha. Chi Tianyu? Luli pulled a long face. He could not help but be filled with killing intent. Even his eyes reddened. Chi Tianyu flew down as well. He took out a black sword and stabbed at Luli. He laughed and said, "Luli, let me send you back to your family." Luli released his source energy at once, ready to take action. But at that moment, he thought of something. Was this an illusion as well? The heart and soul tribulation had not been completely overcome. The previous 2 soul tribulations were what worried him the most. Chi Tianyu was also a demonic thought in his heart, so he couldn't tell the difference between reality and illusion at this moment. If it was a heart-soul tribulation, then it was impossible to move according to one's soul. Otherwise, it would be easy for one to be drawn in and follow the heart-soul tribulation. At that time, it was possible that one would fall into a hopeless situation, forever sinking into oblivion. Luli didn't move during the previous 2 soul trials. He didn't move even when his body was torn apart. At this moment, Chi Tianyu's appearance made him very surprised. Was this Chi Tianyu real or fake? How could there be such a coincidence? Chi Tianyu just happened to appear? Chi Tianyu said he killed his entire clan? Outside the mystic armor city, there were divine patterns set up by the reincarnation emperor. Once the mystic armor city was sealed, outsiders couldn't get in. How could Chi Tianyu get in so easily? Don't move. Luli suspected that this was the last stage of the tribulation of souls. Chi Tianyu was only at the Lord realm. How could he kill Luli? After some thoughts, Luli released the dragon wrestling skill and the heaven armor skill. He sat at the bottom of the pit with his legs crossed, ignoring Chi Tianyu who was attacking him. Boom! Chi Tianyu's black sword stabbed into Lu Li's body. To his surprise, the black sword disappeared into Lu Li's body. Then a surge of destructive energy entered Lu Li's body and began to erase his vitality. This black sword was not a physical attack, but an evil skill that was trying to destroy the source of his life directly. Right at that moment, the divine chains of order glowed. Luli felt the trembling of the divine chains of order. All of a sudden, Luli was taken aback. This Chi Tianyu was real? Otherwise, the divine chains of order wouldn't protect their master. The soul tribulation would hurt his soul, not his body. If it were an illusion, then the divine chains of order wouldn't have taken action. The moment he reached the Emperor realm, Luli felt a strong spiritual connection with the divine chains of order. The divine chains of order really did take action. This was not an illusion. At that moment, without any hesitation, Luli took out a golden divine chain and swung it toward Qi Tianyu. A surge of divine energy swept toward Qi Tianyu in a golden glare. Buzzing, to everyone's surprise, Qi Tianyu's body turned into a shadow, and then he flew up in a blur. When he came back to life in midair, he was unwilling to admit defeat. He bellowed, "Luli, I didn't know that you had such a powerful artifact. You were lucky this time. Hiss, don't worry. One day, I will kill you and your entire race." Ha ha ha. After saying that, Qi Tianyu turned into a black light and flew toward the north, disappearing into the horizon in an instant. Luli wanted to go after him. However, Qi Tianyu's attack had destroyed some of his source of life. Luli was seriously injured. He had just passed the heavens tribulation, and he needed to consolidate his strength. That was close. Qi Tianyu is cunning. Cold sweat broke out on Luli's forehead. This Qi Tianyu was real. His timing was perfect. It was the moment he passed the soul tribulation that made Luli think he was hallucinating. If it were not for the divine chains of order, Luli would have died. Qi Tianyu was one of Luli's evil thoughts. When Luli went through 2 soul tribulations, Qi Tianyu didn't do anything. This time, Qi Tianyu thought it was an illusion as well. If it were not for the protection of the divine chains of order, Luli might let Qi Tianyu tear him apart, and he wouldn't do anything. Even the pain coming from his body made him think that everything was an illusion. If that were the case, Luli would have died an unjust death. He would never believe that this was real. This was how cunning Qi Tianyu was. "Qi Tianyu, I will kill you." Luli's eyes were filled with killing intent. Qi Tianyu was like a viper lurking in the third heaven, looking for a chance to bite Luli. As long as Qi Tianyu was alive, Luli and his people would not have a day of peace. "Let's go." Luli put on a robe and flew up. Many onlookers dropped to one knee to salute Luli as soon as they saw him. Luli took a look and nodded. Then, he flew toward the city of mystic armor in a blur. Since he had the body of an emperor, his speed had been increased by many times. He was not far away from the city of mystic armor, only 2 areas apart. After several rounds of flying, he arrived at the city of mystic armor. Chapter 2903. The entire Lu family was overjoyed at Luli's success. All of Luli's wives and concubines came out to celebrate. Luli was in a good mood as well. There were not too many things to worry him now. The Lu family was developing fast. With old Sinful around, nobody dared to mess with the Lu family. The Flying Fire Continent was doing well as well. A while ago, there was a battle. Old Sinful took action and killed a Lord of Asmodeans. If it were not for the fact that the Lord of Asmodeans had intervened, Old Sinful would have led an army to breach the base camp of the Asmodeans. For the first time, the demon ancestor of the demonic abyss appeared in front of the world. Previously, when the reincarnation emperor died, the world guessed that there was a demon ancestor in the demonic abyss. However, during this period of time, the demon ancestor of the demonic abyss had not made a move, so the world could not be sure. The demon ancestor of the demonic abyss had never openly made a move. He was probably waiting for the sane emperor of the third heaven to appear before secretly killing him. But he didn't expect it to be exposed so early. Before the Cliff Emperor died, he revealed the fact that there were 2 demon ancestors in the demonic abyss. Dao Master Skycrime did not launch a large-scale counterattack. After all, the other party had 2 demon ancestors. If he was attacked by 2 demon ancestors at the same time, it was very likely that he would fall. Hence, Qin Wentian constructed a large number of divine inscriptions. By relying on the divine inscriptions, he could amplify his combat prowess. Those emperor-ranked experts could also amplify their combat prowess. This way, they would be able to easily defend the defensive line. The battle was once again in a stalemate. Daoist Tinzue also sent word to prepare for a long war. In the past, the human race and the demonic abyss had been at war for hundreds of years. If they could end the war in 300 to 500 years and obtain victory, that would be very good. Emperor Unfettered made his move again, bringing 100 people to the northern plains continent. This was also Immortal Tianzui's strategy, to harass the enemy's rear for a long time and kill the demonic abyss's forces. Soon, the demonic abyss also started to retaliate. They sent demon masters and demon sovereigns to bypass the human race's defensive line and enter the central and southern parts of the Flying Fire continent to slaughter the human race's citizens. However, the demonic chi on the experts of the demon abyss was too strong, and it was very easy to discover and track them. Therefore, every time they sent out experts, the humans would immediately surround and capture them, and the demon abyss would suffer heavier losses. Instead of going back to the northern theater of operations, Lu Li continued to cultivate at the city of mystic armor. He was studying soul skills. The Emperor of Freedom and the Immortal of Sky Crime didn't ask him to go to the theater of operations either. They acquiesced that he was cultivating in the city of mystic armor. That was what Lu Li was thinking. He was not much different from an average warrior of the Great Emperor realm. If he could master the two soul skills, his abilities would be greatly enhanced. Sharpening one's axe wouldn't delay the work of cutting firewood. It wouldn't make a difference whether he was there or not. It would be better for him to improve his combat strength before joining the battle. Another reason was that he wanted to spend more time with his wives. After all, they had not been together for many years. Ling Long, Qi Ding Dong, and Yin Qingxi had just joined the sect not long ago. If he went to the northern theater of operations, they would inevitably be worried. The girls were in a better mood. Even though they were sure that Lu Li could not impregnate them, they still took turns to spend the night with him, hoping for a miracle. Qi Ding Dong and Bai Xiaoshuang even started to take elixirs to refine their bodies. Maybe they thought they could not get pregnant because their bodies were not strong enough. Lu Li was a body refiner while their bodies were weak. They could not make a match. Lu Li felt guilty. The problem was that this wasn't something that could be done with just his hard work. He had been working very hard during this period of time, working every night and enjoying the pleasures of the world. Soon, half a year had passed. Emperor of Freedom and the powerful warriors of the Abyss of Devils were attacking each other's hinterlands. The Abyss of Devils had attacked several times as well. It was the same at the southern theater of operations. The Abyss of Devils attacked several times. The Flying Fire Continent's warriors were enhanced by Immortal Tianzui's divine pattern formations. At the same time, the Abyss of Devils was weakened. Therefore, every time the Abyss of Devils was defeated, two lords of Asmodeans from the Abyss of Devils tried to kill Immortal Tianzui. However, Immortal Tianzui used formations. Dragon and I, Yuan Yang, and other powerful emperors used their holy weapons. They formed a battle formation and fought back the two lords of Asmodeans. The two lords of Asmodeans didn't want to fight to the bitter end. In the end, they left. The successive victories boosted the morale of the human side. Their morale was as steady as a rock. As long as Immortal Tianzui was still alive, there was hope for victory. Emperor of Freedom had made great contributions during this time. He went around with a group of powerful warriors to hunt down Abyss of Devils. Demons of destruction? Z. There were demons everywhere at the northern plains? Z. Every demon? Even Z was guarded by Abyss of Devils. They were like live targets. Emperor of Freedom and his companions had killed at least 4 to 5 million Abyss of Devils during this time. Although the low-level Demon Abyss soldiers were not important to the Demon Abyss, if all the Demon Abyss soldiers were wiped out and only a few Demon Abyss powerhouses were left, what could these powerhouses do? The experts of the Abyss of Devils were evolved from the low-level Abyss of Devils. The death of many low-level Abyss of Devils was a great blow to the Abyss. Emperor Unfettered had brought 100 people with him. Among them, there were 7 Thear-cranked experts. Now, there were less than 20 people left. 2 Thear-cranked experts had lost their formation patterns. Emperor Unfettered was also injured many times. Fortunately, he had an extremely powerful escape sacred art. Every time, he was able to escape narrowly. The death of the 2 emperors was not a loss. Emperor of Freedom and his companions had killed 4 demon venerables in the Abyss of Devils. 2 of them were demon venerables with the surname Qian. They were very powerful. Emperor of Freedom also tried to sneak attack the passage connecting the northern plains to the Abyss. Unfortunately, the last demon venerables was teleported back. Otherwise, the sneak attack would have destroyed the passage. Emperor Candleheaven felt that the limelight had been stolen. Therefore, he launched a counterattack. He personally went to battle, obtained a great victory, and destroyed 3 great demons. Z killed 3 demon venerables and millions of Abyss of Devils. The third heaven was in a jubilant mood. Many people thought that victory was in sight. Immortal Tianzue would definitely lead the human experts and the army to kill all the Abyss of Devils. Only some chiefs of the major clans knew that Immortal Tianzue could only defend but not attack. There were 2 demon venerables in the Abyss. Without the help of the formation, Immortal Tianzue would not be a match for them. He couldn't possibly set up a divine rune formation all the way to the Abyss. The experts of the Abyss wouldn't give him this chance. No one could withstand the joint attack of 2 demon venerables. Therefore, how could they attack? How could they attack? The fact that the situation was in a stalemate and the army of the Abyss of Devils had stopped moving southward was already a blessing from God. To completely crush the army of the Abyss of Devils would require time and opportunity. On the other hand, there was another piece of good news. A reclusive, powerful warrior who could control fire came out. He could release a kind of black fire which was particularly harmful to the Abyss of Devils. Even though he was only at the Emperor realm, not even the powerful demon venerables dared to approach him. Many people were inspired. Many powerful warriors began to refine powerful treasures to control fire, and then went to those strange places to collect mystical flames. The Blazing Island, where Luli once stayed, became the first choice. The flames in the core area of the island were particularly horrifying. Collecting some of the flames could save one's life at the critical moment when they encountered powerful warriors of the Abyss of Devils. Chapter 2904. Needless to say, this landscape painting was a piece of treasure that was more powerful than Emperor weapons. Luli even suspected it to be a holy weapon. After he took control of the painting, he was able to confirm his speculation. This painting was a Dharma realm. That was right. This painting was not a painting, but a Dharma realm. When Luli came in from the painting, he saw that it was a small world with a radius of millions of miles. It was like the land of treasures that had been refined. It was a world of its own. This explained why the painting could not be destroyed. The painting was just an entrance. The enemy's attack was not on the painting, but on the Dharma realm. No matter how strong this person's attack was, he shouldn't be able to destroy the Dharma realm, right? Not to mention that the Dharma realm was refined. There was no source of energy in the Dharma realm. The Saint Emperor who owned the Dharma realm had passed away a long time ago. There was nothing in the Dharma realm. That being said, the Dharma realm was rich with mountains and rivers. It was like a paradise. Master, Blood Fairy came in as well. She said, "This world has its own rules. I can control the rules here. That is to say, if an enemy enters this world, I can control the rules and kill him." What? Li's eyes glowed. He asked at once, "What kind of warriors can you kill? Can you kill Lord Asmodean?" "Well, I don't know." Blood Fairy shook her head. She was not sure about this. She would have to try to find out. Li smiled. Even if he could suck someone in, the best he could do was kill Asmodean. Lord Asmodean was comparable to Saint Emperors. Saint Emperor's understanding of Dharma realms was not something the average Saint Emperors could compare with. Saint Emperors were too strong. They had all kinds of strange skills. How could the average Dharma realm kill them? It was the same for Lord Asmodean. That being said, Luli was excited that the artifact had such a strange ability. He wondered if Lord Asmodean could destroy it. If not, then the artifact would be powerful. At the very least, it could help Li in defense. He could use the painting to defend against regular attacks. Coming out from the Dharma realm, Luli was eager to try. He had been cultivating for a long time, but he did not make much progress in soul skills. He thought for a while and informed his family that he was going to teleport to the northern battlefield to take a look. Even though the wives were reluctant to let Luli go, they knew that Luli was a warrior of the Emperor realm. Even warriors of the third heaven were contributing. It was not good for Luli to stay in the city of mystic armor all by himself. People would gossip about him. Luli left a strand of divinity so that he would know as soon as someone was under attack. This divine seal technique was easy to cultivate. It was just a secret technique. Luli teleported all the way to the flying cloud city. He was a celebrity now. As soon as he teleported out, many people saluted him. The fact that Luli had reached the Emperor realm had been spread out. Many people were there to witness his heavenly tribulations. Luli went to visit the Immortal of Sin first. The Immortal of Sin expressed his appreciation for Luli reaching the Emperor realm. He asked Luli not to fight for now. Luli should stabilize his foundation and cultivate for a while. This war would take a long time, so there was no need to rush. Luli didn't hide anything. He told Immortal Tianzue about his possession of an ancient painting. A saint emperor should disdain to snatch his treasures, right? It was very easy for a saint emperor to refine a saint weapon. An artifact refined in a Dharma realm. Immortal of Heavenly Sin took over the painting and studied it for a while. Then, he asked Luli to take him into the Dharma realm to study. After an hour, he came out and said, "Congratulations, Luli. This is a piece of treasure. Even though it is not useful to saint emperors, it is still a treasure. It is not useful for saint emperors, but it is useful for saint emperors. If you could trap them in, you can kill them with this Dharma realm. Of course, I'm not sure. Also, it is difficult to suck in saint emperors." Luli nodded. Last time, Emperor Yu and an Asmodean from the Asmodean Abyss were almost sucked in, but they escaped in the end. Therefore, this artifact was of little value. It could only be used for defense. Okay, Luli thought about it. If Blood Fairy could build some powerful runes, there was a chance that Saint Emperors could be trapped in that Dharma realm. Luli decided to go to the front line. Immortal Tianzue did not object. He told Luli to go with his second disciple. If anything happened, his second disciple could be of help. Immortal Tianzue called his second disciple, Immortal Zilin, over. He was at the later stage of Saint Emperor realm, a supreme warrior. Immortal Zilin did not hesitate to follow Immortal Tianzue's words. He went with Luli at once. This Immortal Zilin was a man of few words. He barely talked to Luli. He only carried out Immortal Tianzue's orders and stayed close to Luli. They went to the front line. There were constant conflicts between the Asmodean Abyss and the human armies. Small-scale battles would break out every now and then. The commander here was Immortal Ziyun, a warrior that could compete with Emperor of Reincarnation, Emperor Candle, and Emperor of Freedom. Luli secretly visited Immortal Ziyun. Immortal Ziyun learned the purpose of their visit. He suggested that they disguise themselves to avoid being targeted by the powerful warriors from the Asmodean Abyss. Luli disguised himself as an average warrior and went to the front line. Immortal Zilin also disguised himself. He took off his Taoist robe and put on a regular armor. Even though Luli was trying his best to hide the might of an emperor, he still gave people a sense of greatness at first glance. All the commanders and lords nearby bowed to him as soon as they saw him. Immortal Zilin, on the other hand, had no energy at all. He looked more like a soldier. Luli knew that it was difficult for him to hide his might since he had just reached the Overlord realm. But he didn't mind. After all, he was close to the commander's camp. There were dozens of Overlord realm warriors there. They could come to his aid at any time. He would be fine as long as he was not killed instantly. A small-scale battle between the humans and the Asmodean Abyss was taking place. Luli rushed forward on his own. Immortal Zilin hid nearby to look after him. Luli targeted an Asmodean lord and dashed over. That Asmodean lord sensed something was wrong with Luli and tried to run away. Whoosh! Luli sped up and caught up with the Asmodean lord. The Asmodean lord had no other choice but to attack desperately. Luli dodged the attack and stayed close to the Asmodean Lord. The Asmodean Lord scratched at Luli. Buzzing, Luli took out the painting. The Asmodean Lord reached into the painting. Luli shouted at once, "Blood Fairy!" Blood Fairy reached out with her tentacle and stabbed it into the painting. The painting lit up, and a powerful gravitational force emerged. It was 10 times stronger than it had been before it had been refined. The Asmodean Lord sensed something was wrong, but he could not run away. He was sucked into the painting. Luli used some soul attacks to obliterate the souls of the hundreds of Asmodean Abyss warriors nearby. Then he stepped back. He was not here to kill the Asmodean Abyss warriors. He was here to test the power of the painting. When he was in a safe place, he focused his psychic power on the painting. Then he shouted, "Blood Fairy, kill that Asmodean Lord." That Asmodean Lord was flying around, trying to find an exit. He was terrified. Right at that moment, a purple ray of light came from the sky. The ray of light smashed down and landed on the Asmodean Lord. Boom! The Asmodean Lord's body was torn apart. He turned into dust in an instant. Not even a severed limb was left. Chapter 2905. Later on, Luli tried it twice more and confirmed one thing. This ancient painting could kill demon masters with ease. After the demon master got close, the demon master couldn't resist the powerful suction force at all. It was easy to suck him in and kill him. Luli was excited. He wanted to try it out on Asmodean Lord. However, would the demon lord be sucked in so easily? In order to find the demon lords, their reactions and strength were extremely abnormal. Once they sensed that something was wrong, they would immediately flee. Luli went back to the camp and spent the afternoon thinking. He decided to ask Blood Fairy to build a formation to see if she could trap and kill Asmodean. After all, Immortal Zelin was nearby. Luli was not afraid. Average Asmodeans could not kill him in an instant. Receiving Luli's order, Blood Fairy began to think. It took her 3 days to come up with a plan. Luli took Blood Fairy to the front line. Blood Fairy found a small hill, which was located at the Abyss of Demons. Blood Fairy snuck into the ground and began to build runes while Luli killed the abyssal demon warriors nearby. It was too easy for him to kill the demon Abyss soldiers. Every time hundreds or thousands of demon Abyss soldiers came, he would easily kill them. Perfected Zelin hid nearby and set up a Dharma array to hide himself. If the demon lord didn't get close, he wouldn't be able to discover him. He was only 3,000 miles away from Luli. Once something happened, he would go over at once. Unless the Asmodean Lord was dispatched, the average Asmodean Lords could not kill Luli under his protection. Luli was betting as well. He was betting that the Asmodean Lord would not make a move so easily. After all, Luli was just a nobody who had just reached the Emperor realm. Even if the Demon Abyss learned of his identity, they would not make a big fuss. The demonic ancestor was a supreme expert of the demonic abyss. He was definitely a prideful individual and would not stoop to killing a small fry like him. It took Blood Fairy 3 days to construct 3 divine inscriptions. One of the divine inscriptions was an illusory formation. It was a very high-level illusory formation, and one would not be able to detect it unless they were close. Ancient divine glyphs had been infused into the formation, which was the peak of Blood Fairy's level of mastery. The other spirit array was a defensive spirit array. If this small mountain was easily destroyed, it would have been for nothing. The third spirit formation was the core. This spirit formation did not have much use. It could only produce a powerful suction force. Once it was activated, everything in the vicinity would be sucked in. With that done, Luli hung the painting in the mountain. Blood Fairy activated her formation of illusion, and the place where the painting was hung turned into a cave. Looking from a distance, it looked like a small cave. Even the tunnels in the cave were easy to see. Luli was satisfied after a while. The miraculous thing about the divine pattern was that psychic power could not detect it. If Luli didn't use the trace of Tao, he wouldn't be able to sense the divine pattern. He continued to roam around, killing demon abyss soldiers. He believed that if he slaughtered too many Demon Abyss soldiers here, it would definitely attract the attention of the Demon Abyss powerhouses, and there would be demon sovereigns taking action. As expected, in just 3 days, 3 Asmodeans came, and Luli killed them all. On the 4th day, a dark cloud flew over and locked onto Luli. Luli sensed it and was overjoyed. Finally, an Asmodean lord came. Woo-woo, thousands of Demon Abyss soldiers whooshed over. That Asmodean lord was clever. He hid among an average Demon Abyss soldier. If it were not for the fact that Luli had the trace of Tao, he would not be able to sense him. Luli pretended that he did not know and kept on killing Demon Abyss soldiers. But he was moving closer to the hill. He did not look at that Asmodean lord. He pretended that he did not see it. Roar, the Demon Abyss soldier in which the Asmodean lord was residing, bellowed. Luli swung his saber, ready to finish the Asmodean lord. Right at that moment, a dark shadow came out from the Demon Abyss soldier. Then, the dark shadow divided into thousands of black swords that came at Luli like a rain of swords. Asmodean lord, Luli's expressions changed. He stepped back toward the hill. The 1,000 swords of darkness caught up with him. Soon, they were close to the hill. At that moment, a black sword was close to Luli as well. A black Demon Abyss monster came into being and reached at Luli's head ferociously. Hoi! Luli released the dragon transformation at once. He mobilized his source energy and smashed at the claws of the Demon Abyss warrior. With a muffled sound, Luli was knocked back. Blood came out from his arm. The Asmodean lord's arm was shattered as well. But it was not a problem for the Asmodean lord. He could rebuild it easily. Run! Luli showed an expression of fear. He madly rushed towards the hill and into the cave. The Asmodean lord grinned cruelly and said, "You want to run?" "Never." The Asmodean lord went after Luli in a cloud of dark mist. When he was near the cave, he suddenly stopped. He sensed the fluctuation of the divine runes in the hill. The Asmodean lord said coldly, "You want to trap me with a formation?" Buzzing, right at that moment, the hill glowed. Following that, a strong suction force came from the cave. The Asmodean lord was outside the cave. He could not react in time and was sucked into the cave. At the same time, the ancient painting glowed as well. Another suction force came out. This time, the Asmodean lord could not stand it anymore. He was sucked in. In the distance, the immortal Lin took action. He dashed over in a blur and followed the Asmodean lord into the cave. He was worried about Luli. Even though the Asmodean lord was sucked in, what if Luli could not kill the Asmodean lord? Inside the realm of magic in the ancient painting, Luli stood on a hill. When the Asmodean lord was sucked in, Luli grinned. The plan worked. The Asmodean lord was trapped. "Where is this? Human bastard, how dare you set me up?" The Asmodean lord was in a panic. Anyone or a warrior from the Asmodean abyss would react the same way. They felt they had fallen into an enemy's trap. Luli grinned and said, "This is not normal. The Asmodean abyss controlled 2 of us and killed so many powerful warriors of the human race. Is this not a trap?" The Asmodean lord snorted. The shadow in the air dispersed into thousands of black swords. The Asmodean lord said in a gloomy voice, "I am not afraid, even if it is a trap. Bastard, go to hell." Luli smiled and said, "Blood fairy, kill him." Buzzing, the entire realm of magic glowed. A ray of purple light shot down and landed on one of the black swords. Blood fairy had mastered the rules of the realm of magic. Through the realm of magic, she could find the real Asmodean lord. Boom! The Asmodean lord was smashed to the ground. He almost fell apart. The Asmodean lord came back and asked in surprise, "What is this? How can it be so strong? How can you find my real body so easily?" Luli stood on the hill. He ignored the black swords coming at him and said coldly, "This is the power of the realm of magic. Blood fairy, keep it up until his soul is shattered." The immortal Lin flew in and landed next to Luli. He nodded in satisfaction. Chapter 2906. Luli wandered around the chilly winterland first. He had collected information about dozens of strange places from the Ian family. There were 8 at the chilly winterland. 2 of them were at the southern battlefield. Luli didn't go there because Emperor Burning Heaven was there. He disguised himself and didn't tell anyone apart from his family and the crippled Zen master. Luli teleported to a strange place more than 10 places away from the chilly winterland. The place had a beautiful name called Maple Leaf Valley. As the name suggested, it was a valley with many maple leaves. Maple Leaf Valley was a beautiful name, but it was a dangerous place. Average warriors would never come back after entering and would stay in the Maple Leaf Valley forever. Luli had found out the situation. The Maple Leaf Valley posed no threat to Emperor Realm warriors. Patriarch 6 once went in and came out successfully. Patriarch 6 had seen through the mystery, but he didn't explain it to Luli. He just told Luli to go and check it out. Luli disguised himself as a white-haired old man. His mask was wrinkled, and he was dressed in ordinary clothes. He put away his energy. Others might not be able to sense it, but powerful warriors could. When he arrived at a nearby city, he walked out on his own. He didn't ride a chariot or fly. He walked on foot. This time, he was here to seek inspiration and to pursue his path. He had been preparing for years, so he was not in a hurry. He wanted his heart to be at the pinnacle of tranquility. Only then would he be able to feel something, and only then would he be able to pursue his own Tao. He forgot about everything and walked alone in the wilderness. He was neither too fast nor too slow. He used psychic power to check the surroundings. He tried his best to avoid running into others to avoid exposing his whereabouts. After walking for a few hours, he finally arrived outside a maple leaf valley. There was a maple forest outside the Maple Leaf Valley. It happened to be dusk at this moment, and the golden rays of the sun shone on the maple leaves. It was as if a layer of gold had been added to the maple leaves, making the surroundings look dreamy and beautiful. Luli stood there for a moment and then walked into the valley with the help of his walking stick. His back was slightly hunched. From his back, he did look like an old man. Whoosh! Right at that moment, a battleship flew over and some psychic power came over. Luli had already sensed it, but he didn't pay much attention. This should be a disciple of a nearby small family who passed by here for training. The strength of this group of people was very low. The strongest among them was only at the peak of the 4th tribulation. "Sir, wait." A clear voice came out. Then a young master flew out from a battleship. He landed with 2 escorts next to him. He landed behind Luli, cupped his fists, and said, "Sir, this is the Maple Leaf Valley. It is very dangerous. You cannot go in so easily." Luli turned around. The wrinkles on his face trembled. He smiled and said in a hoarse voice, "Thank you, young master. I don't think there is any danger here." This group of people couldn't sense his realm, so they thought he was just an ordinary old man who couldn't cultivate. The young master hurriedly said, "It looks like there's no danger, but even a 5 tribulation cultivator can't come out. Sir, please go somewhere else. This place really can't be entered." This young master was very young, probably only a few decades old. His realm was not particularly high, only at the peak of the 3rd tribulation. He looked like a kind-hearted and simple young man. Luli smiled again and said, "Thank you, young master. I know what to do." "Well, I think you are cultivating your body. Cultivating your bones? I don't think you should go this way. It is really difficult." With that said, Luli turned around and walked into the valley. Soon, he disappeared from everyone's sight. The young master wanted to say something else, but the escorts next to him stopped him. The young master asked in confusion, "Uncle Fu, why did you stop me? It is really dangerous in here." That man is a powerful warrior. The warrior at the peak of the 4th tribulation next to the young master said solemnly, "He can tell that you are cultivating your bones, and we cannot sense his realm. This man is unfathomable. He looked at me for the last time. I felt my soul was trembling." "Ah!" The young master was shocked. Then he asked with excitement, "Uncle Fu, what realm is this man at?" "Lord Realm? I don't know." The warrior at the peak of the 4th tribulation shook his head. He thought about it and said, "I think he might be a quasi-emperor. I once met a quasi-emperor, and his eyes were as scary as his. "Let's go. Don't disturb this lord. I will not give up." The young master clenched his fist and looked at the valley. His eyes were filled with determination as he said, "General Yong, he used his body to become a martial emperor. I, Meng Xinghao, will become someone like General Yong Yi and the Violet Emperor one day. I will become a martial emperor." Ha ha. Luli had gone into the valley, but he could be seen clearly from the outside. He forced a smile. He didn't know that he had become the idol of many young people. How could they cultivate their bodies like him? As a matter of fact, it was not because of his physical body that he could reach the Emperor realm. He had somehow opened up a world of magic and cultivated source energy. That was how he reached the Emperor realm. It had nothing to do with his physical body. Of course, his physical body was strong. After he released the dragon transformation, his physical body became even stronger. That was a powerful combat ability. He paid no more attention to the outside world. He observed the Maple Leaf Valley quietly. The entire valley was covered with maple leaves. Apart from the maple leaves, there were no other trees. There were no flowers, birds, fishes, or insects. The view here was more beautiful than outside. It was dazzling. Rustle, rustle, rustle. The wind blew through the maple leaves, making a rustling sound. When Luli stepped on the maple leaves on the ground, there was a squeaking sound. It was said that walking in the maple leaf forest could make people lose their way and they would never feel tired. Eventually, they would die of exhaustion or starvation. There had been countless people who had walked in, but none of them had walked out. Luli checked with psychic power and found many bones. Many of them were covered by the maple leaves. Judging by the skeletons, they should not be powerful warriors. That being said, the fact that so many people could die in here was proof of the strangeness of the maple leaf forest. Luli was not afraid at all. Leaning on his walking stick, he walked on step by step. He wanted to see if the Maple Leaf Valley could make him fall for it and make him walk in there without feeling tired forever. Rustle, rustle, rustle. The rustling of the maple leaves was getting louder. The wind seemed to be getting stronger. The rustling of the maple leaves had a rhythm to it. As Luli listened, his eyes became blurred as if he was immersed in the sound. After a while, Luli walked forward step by step. His eyes were closed. Just like the others who came in before, he began to walk around in circles in the Maple Leaf Valley. One circle, another circle, and another circle. Luli seemed to be possessed as well. He kept his eyes closed and walked around tirelessly as if he would never wake up. Chapter 29:08. It was a maple forest. Without knowing it, people would lose themselves in it. They would walk on and on tirelessly until their lives were exhausted, and they would turn into a skeleton and stay here forever. Luli suddenly stopped after an hour. He opened his eyes and nodded. This is a strange place. Not only is there the law of sound, but there is also a natural formation of illusion. Even the crippled Zen master could walk out easily. Given Luli's abilities, he would not be trapped. Just now, Luli kept walking because he was affected by the law of sound. He just wanted to see what was so special about this place. He activated the trace of Tao and soon found out that there was a formation of heaven and earth and a strange law of sound here. Now that the formation had been solved, there was no point in staying here. Luli stood up and walked out. Soon, he was out of the valley. The young master was still there. "What?" the young master exclaimed and said with a face full of surprise. "Sir, you actually came out? Are you not affected by the formation in there?" The warrior at the peak of the fourth tribulation cupped his fists in fear and said, "My lord, my young master is young and ignorant. Please forgive him." Luli smiled but didn't say anything. He continued to walk away with his walking stick. He seemed to be walking slowly, but in the time for a few breaths, he had vanished into the horizon. He was controlling his speed on purpose. Otherwise, he could have vanished in an instant. "Wow, wow," the young master yelled with a face full of shock. "This person is indeed a quasi-emperor. His speed is too fast. He is not just an emperor, quasi-emperor." The warrior at the peak of the fourth tribulation said, "I think he is at the emperor realm, a hidden one. Otherwise, he could not have walked out of the Maple Valley so quickly. Last time, a lord was trapped in there for decades. Emperor Realm, my god. The young master's breaths were short. Then he slapped his thigh and said, "What a great opportunity. It is a pity that I missed it. If I had reacted fast enough and asked this powerful warrior to be my teacher, I could have soared to the sky." "Wake up," the warrior at the peak of the fourth tribulation said with a bitter smile. "It is not that easy for an Emperor Realm warrior to take in an apprentice. Young master, it's not that I want to discourage you, but your aptitude is still a little lacking. Let alone an emperor. I'm afraid that even a lord wouldn't be interested in you." The young master did not get angry. Instead, he sighed angrily and said, "I know my aptitude is not good, but General Young, he has walked step by step from the mortal world to the third heavenly layer. How good could a mortal's aptitude be? If he could become an overlord, as long as I work hard, I could do it too, definitely." The warrior at the peak of the fourth tribulation shook his head and said nothing. He just looked at where Lu Li left, deep in thought. He seemed to be trying to guess Lu Li's identity. After a while, Lu Li changed his identity again. This time, he was a Taoist and teleported away. During this period of time, because of Taoist Master Tianzue and the others, Taoist priests were prevalent. Many people disguised themselves as Taoist priests to pretend to be experts. Lu Li concealed his energy and teleported away. He did not stop. He was going to the second location, which was a distance away. It was a spring and also a poisonous one. Sometimes the spring water was comparable to the highest level of liquid, and sometimes it was poisonous. Even warriors at the sixth tribulation would be corroded by it. That was why the spring water was called the Spring of Supernatural. The spring water was located in the main city of a super family. Therefore, it had not been destroyed over all these years. No one tried to destroy it either. Many people went there to observe but found nothing special. Naturally, Lu Li had to go and see such a strange thing. Maybe he could solve the mystery of the Spring of Supernatural, which could enlighten him. He teleported again and again. He had a token in his hand, which was issued by the Northern Theater of Operations. With this token, he could teleport at will. Nobody dared to take divine stones from him. After teleporting for more than 10 days, Lu Li arrived at the Maishan region. He was not in a hurry to go to the Maishan city. Instead, he settled down in a medium-sized city to gather some information. It was peaceful here. There were no disputes and no abyssal demon warriors. Most of the powerful warriors had gone to the two theaters of operations. Lu Li rested for half a day and teleported to the Maishan city. He asked for some information and learned that the Spring of Supernatural was in the mountain behind the Bu family, the ruler of the Maishan region. Lu Li frowned. He was here to comprehend and cultivate. He didn't want to be a guest of a big family. He thought about it and flew in from the back of the mountain. He used a trace of Great Path to check for scouts nearby. He avoided them easily and moved on. Soon, he found the Spring of Supernatural. It was a pity that there were still people guarding here. An old man was sitting next to the Spring of Supernatural. Next to the old man was a beautiful girl who was also cultivating. No wonder the Bu family has been guarding the Spring of Supernatural. Lu Li sensed and found that there was rich Reiki coming out from the Spring of Supernatural. The Reiki was even richer and purer than in the primitive mystery realm. It was faster to cultivate here than in the primitive mystery realm. Who is it? A moment later, the old man suddenly opened his eyes and looked at Lu Li with hostility. This old man was an emperor of boundary and had good senses. Even though Lu Li used a trace of Great Path, he was still sensed by the old man because they were too close. Now that he had been discovered, Lu Li didn't need to hide anymore. He walked out in strides. The beautiful girl stood behind the old man alertly. She took out a signal detonator and was about to call for help. "Don't call for help. I mean no harm," Lu Li said calmly. He walked over and looked at the old man. The old man was shocked and said at once, "Rong don't move." The beautiful girl didn't dare to move. At this moment, she saw Lu Li's eyes. They were like a spring, unfathomable. She knew this man was a super powerful warrior, even stronger than her forefather. Her forefather was an emperor of boundary. If this man was stronger than her forefather, then he must be at the Emperor Realm. All the Emperor Realm warriors were in the two battlefields. Now that one had appeared, no one could tell if it was a blessing or a curse. The forefather of the Boo family stood up with respect and bowed. "Greetings, my lord. I didn't know you were coming and didn't go out to greet you. This is our fault." The beautiful girl bowed as well. Luli waved his hand and said, "No need to be so polite. I came because of your reputation. I was just looking around." The Boo family progenitor and the beautiful girl were relieved after hearing Luli's words. It seemed that Luli didn't have bad intentions by suddenly entering the backyard of the Boo family. He just wanted to see the spring of divine beasts. Luli nodded to the old man and said, "Can I have a look at your spring of divine beasts?" "Don't worry, I won't destroy it." The old man nodded with respect and said, "Lord Yong-e, do as you please. Just tell me if you need anything." The beautiful girl was surprised and shouted, "Forefather, he is General Yong-e? That Emperor Lu who is invincible and the most talented warrior in history?" Chapter 2909. It didn't matter if his identity was exposed. This small Boo family wouldn't dare to tell on him, right? Even if he did, who would dare to kill him? Luli nodded and did not deny it. He said, "Don't tell anyone about my identity, and don't let anyone come close. I will leave after I have a look at the spring of divine Azura." "Yes." The Boo family progenitor cupped his hands in obeisance. Even though he was advanced in age, but in front of Luli, he was like a servant. His attitude was very humble. It was not that the Boo family patriarch knew how to conduct himself, but that Luli's fame and ferocity had been too great in recent years. For average warriors at the third heaven, Luli was a hero, a legend, a rising star of the human race. However, in the eyes of the big families at the third heaven, Luli was neither good nor evil. He was a man that could not be provoked. Back when he was still weak, Luli had turned the godly Windland and the Silver Flame Sea region upside down. The Dan family and the Wu family were disgraced. When he went to the Flying Fire Continent, he was besieged by the Dragon Rebel clan and a few other big families. Then he went to the Frigid Sea area and suppressed Chi Tianyu. Not long ago, he even slapped Emperor Candle Heaven in the face. In other words, whenever Luli went to one place or another, he felt something was going to happen. Also, Luli did not play by the rules at all. If Luli was pissed off, Luli would not care about anything. Some time ago, in the Flying Cloud City of the Northern War Zone, he dared to disobey the Cliff Emperor's orders and cut off one of Emperor Yu's hands. At that time, they did not know that the two of them had been controlled by the demonic abyss. For many major families, Luli was someone they could not afford to provoke, not to mention that he had a Saint Emperor standing behind him. The strongest person in the Boo clan was this ancestor quasi-emperor. How could he dare to offend Luli? Seeing that Luli had admitted his identity, the young lady of the Boo family's eyes glowed. Luli was the hero of many young girls, the man of their dreams. She didn't expect that he would show up in front of her today at the Boo family. Something's not right. The young lady of the Boo family, Buronger, frowned and said, "General Young, why do you look so different from the portrait? Also, why are you Taoist?" Ronga, Boo clan's old ancestor's expression changed as he hurriedly reprimanded. "What nonsense are you talking about? Apologize to General Yong. General Yong is an expert. How can you guess what he does?" Luli smiled gently. He took off the mask and revealed his chiseled face. He smiled gently and said, "Do I look like it now?" Buronger was obviously spoiled rotten. She was not afraid of the Boo family's elder ancestor at all. Her eyes curved into crescent moons as she nodded and said, "Now it looks like it. General Yong, I'm a little impulsive. Please don't take offense." "Not at all." Luli waved his hand. He didn't say anything more to the young lady. She was pretty and had a unique charm. However, he already had a large number of wives and concubines, so he no longer had any thoughts of chasing after women. Right now, what he pursued was combat strength and his own Tao. Everything else was not important to him. With his current status and reputation, if he wanted beauties, he would only need to spread the word and countless beauties would line up to serve him. After all, if they could become Lu Li's women, it would be of great benefit to them and their families. Lu Li didn't say anything else. He walked to the spring of mythical beasts and looked into it. The spring was not big. Trickles came out and converged into a small river that flowed into the distance. There was a small pond near the mouth of the spring. There were many mystical grasses and flowers around the pond. The view was quite nice. Lu Li didn't see anything special after a while. He asked, "Can you tell me more about the spring?" Before the Bu family progenitor said anything, Bu Rong Air said, "Let me tell you, the spring of mythical beasts rotates once every 3 days. The spring water flowing out now is comparable to the holy water. After 3 days, it will flow out black spring water. The spring water is poisonous. By then, there won't be any spiritual chi coming out. Every 15 days, the two kinds of spring water will flow out together, but they are clearly separated. The poisonous spring water is at the bottom, and the holy water is at the top." Oh, Lu Li was even more curious. Could there be such a miraculous thing in the world? The most important thing was that the two kinds of spring water would flow out together. This was the most amazing thing in the world. He nodded and then sat on the side with his legs crossed. The Bu family progenitor thought about it and said, "General Yong-yi, do you want some refreshments?" "No." Lu Li waved his hand and closed his eyes. He used the trace of Tao to sense the spring water. At the same time, he asked Blood Fairy to go underground to see if there were any runes or formation of heaven and earth around the spring water. The Bu family patriarch didn't dare to disturb Lu Li, nor did he dare to leave. Even though Bu Rong wanted to talk to Lu Li, she didn't dare to disturb Lu Li when she saw that he had his eyes closed. She just sat cross-legged and looked at Lu Li curiously. Soon a day passed. The spring water suddenly stopped flowing. After a moment, black spring water came out. The spring water had a foul smell. Lu Li had been trying to sense the surroundings, but he could not figure out how the spring water changed. This spring water was seeping out from the ground. He did not see any fluctuations or changes in the ground, but the spring water suddenly turned black. It was very strange. There must be a formation of heaven and earth that changed automatically. Lu Li thought for a long time and came to a conclusion. Not long afterward, Blood Fairy sent him a message to confirm his speculation. "Master, there's a miraculous formation of heaven and earth in this hill. This formation can automatically absorb Xian energy and toxins in heaven and earth. The toxins have seeped into the spring water, which is why this strange phenomenon is happening. Master, wait for me. I want to study this formation. It may be of great help to me when I build other formations in the future." Okay. Lu Li wanted to see the strange phenomenon of the two kinds of spring water. He waited. Soon, 8 days passed. Two kinds of spring water came out from the spring of mythical beasts. The two kinds of spring water came out together. The black one flowed down and the white one floated above. There was no limit to the fusion. The two kinds of liquids with different properties did not conflict with each other. Amazing, Lu Li exclaimed after a while. One kind of spring water was toxic, and the other one was comparable to the divine liquid. Both came out at the same time, but did not mix. There was no sign of fusion. After looking at it for a day, the spring water stopped flowing and turned back into divine liquid. A dense fragrance wafted out, making people feel extremely comfortable. Blood Fairy came back. She had finished her investigation and needed some time to study. Lu Li had been here for a long time, but he did not feel anything. He stood up and said, "Okay, I have to go." Bu family progenitor stood up at once and said, "General Yong, do you want some food? Many families here admire you, General Yong." "Yes." Bu Rong hurriedly said, "General Yong, many of my sisters admire you very much. If they can meet you, they will be very happy. Please condescend to meet him." "No need." Lu Li smiled lightly and then left, leaving behind a stalwart silhouette. Chapter 29:10. In the next half a year, Luli went to several places and saw many strange sights. For example, in a mountain, day and night were reversed. It was daytime outside, but it was night here. It was daytime outside. Another example was a tribe where only girls were born. None of them had boys. The tribe was strong. There were several warriors of the sixth tribulation. They kept hundreds of young men in captivity, all of whom were handsome and talented. The young men could only stay in the tribe for 3 to 5 years. After that, the young men would leave. It was not because the tribe wanted to drive them away, but because they could not stand it anymore. There were over 10,000 people in the tribe and thousands of young women. The men had little time to rest. What was more, they had no choice. Once the women of the tribe came, they must have sex. Luli's arrival caused a sensation in the tribe. The leader of the tribe took out many treasures and elixirs, begging Luli to stay for a month. Luli was not interested in being a stud horse, and he could not impregnate women. Therefore, he left after checking several women and finding nothing wrong in the tribe. Then, Luli went to a pond. It was said that the pond was evil. Women could get pregnant after bathing in the pond. Luli took a closer look and realized that it was the work of an old demon. Luli went to several more places. In some places, he could see through, and in others, he could not. He had a vague feeling, but it was not very clear. Therefore, he had to move on. He had arrived at the Ziyang land. There were more than a dozen strange places here, and Luli wanted to check them all. The southern and southern battlefields were stable, so he didn't have to worry about them for now. Buzzing, he teleported several times and stopped at a small city. He heard the people nearby talking about a strange thing. They said that many tribes in the area were haunted at night. The evil spirits would dig out people's hearts and drink their blood. Many people had died, and those who died were all old men. Luli had seen ghosts before. There were so many tribes nearby. Luli decided to go and have a look. If there were any ghosts with remnant souls, he could shatter them. It would be a good deed. He sat in the city for the entire afternoon and went over at night. The ghosts only came out at night. At this moment, he was disguised as an ordinary young warrior. He walked alone in the wilderness. Tonight, the night was especially dark, and the wind was blowing, giving people a very scary feeling. Luli wandered around the wilderness on his own, focusing on the nearby tribes. In the middle of the night, he found the ghost in a village. Woo woo woo, chilly wind blew across the entire village. Luli used psychic power to check. People in the village were scared out of their wits. Many were huddled in corners, shivering. Some were kowtowing to the statues of Buddha or immortal Tianzi. There were no experts in this village. The strongest was a peak third tribulation warrior. Most of them were first and second tribulation warriors. They were considered commoners. Luli scanned with psychic power and found the ghost easily. It was indeed an remnant soul. It was controlling an old man to run out of the village. The old man was only a warrior who had undergone the second tribulation. The remnant soul was powerful, and the old man could not fight back. He ran toward the north obediently. After the old man ran for dozens of miles, the chilly wind in the village disappeared. Many people were relieved. The villagers started to gather with gongs and drums. Soon, some people began to cry. Someone realized that the old man was missing. In the past, when someone went missing, they would be found dead in the wild days later with their hearts dug out. Luli didn't disperse the remnant soul at once. He followed it slowly. He wanted to see what the remnant soul was going to do. Where was it controlling the old man to go? The old man ran for thousands of miles and entered a mountain. There was a formation of illusion in the mountain. Of course, Luli didn't feel any pressure. He didn't even need to trigger the formation of illusion. He could get in easily. He didn't use psychic power. Instead, he used a trace of Tao to sense. He found an old temple in the mountain. There was a little beggar in the temple who was only 7 or 8 years old. The old man went to the old temple. Instead of being scared, the child looked at the old man pitifully and said, "Great-grandpa, I don't want to eat it. I don't want to drink human blood anymore. Please, great-grandpa." "No." The old man, controlled by the remnant soul, said, "Luer, listen to great-grandpa. Dig out the heart and eat it. This is an order." The little beggar was a girl. She took out a dagger and was in pain. She begged again, "Great-grandpa, I really don't want to eat it. I don't want to eat it, okay?" "Unlua," the old man said in a tone that brooked no refusal. "Have you forgotten who you are? Have you forgotten your mission? Have you forgotten how your parents and people died? Dig out the heart and eat it now." The little beggar girl stood up. Her hand trembled. In the end, she closed her eyes and stabbed at the old man's chest. But this time she didn't stab in. Instead, she felt she was grabbed by a strong hand. Luli dashed out like a ghost. He could not bear to see this anymore. This remnant soul was insane. It was forcing a child to eat human hearts and drink human blood. This remnant soul was more evil than creatures from the abyssal domain. That remnant soul flew out and then turned into a ghost. It reached toward Lu Li with its claws and fangs, trying to kill him. The old man, controlled by the remnant soul, had passed out, or else he would have been scared to death. Lu Li snorted. He released the might of an emperor, which pressed down like a mountain. That remnant soul was not strong. It should have been at the sixth tribulation before it died. Lu Li immobilized it at once. "Demons and monsters, go to hell." Lu Li's hand glowed with origin energy. He was about to shatter the remnant soul when the female beggar suddenly knelt down, dropped the dagger on her arm, grabbed Lu Li's pants with her dirty hand and said, "Uncle, don't kill my great-grandpa. It is all my fault. If you want to kill someone, kill me." Lu Li looked down and saw tears in the little beggar's eyes. Her face was dirty, but her eyes were bright like two pools of water. Lu Li's heart softened seeing how pitiful the little girl was. He stopped his attack and said, "Your great-grandpa forced you to eat human hearts and drink human blood. Why are you protecting him? Do you know how many innocent lives he has killed? His cruelty and evil cannot be tolerated by nature." "Lord," the remnant soul gave up on fighting back after knowing that Lu Li was at the Emperor realm. He said, "Lord, I had no other choice. Shut up. Did I allow you to talk?" Lu Li threw him a cold glance. The remnant soul was frightened by his sharp eyes. He dared not to say another word. The little girl kowtowed to Lu Li 3 more times and said while crying, "Uncle, please don't be angry. It is not my fault. It is all my fault. I have a blood feud and I have a strange disease. I have to drink human blood and eat human hearts to suppress it. Now all of us are dead. My forefather had to harm people in order to keep me alive." The little beggar girl was only 7 or 8 years old. She could not lie at this age. Also, her pearl-like eyes did not seem to be lying. Lu Li felt a bit better. Chapter 29:11. Whatever the reason, the remnant soul had harmed so many people. It was unforgivable. The little girl could be forgiven, but Lu Li must destroy the remnant soul. Not even God could save him. "Uncle, I beg you, I beg you." The little girl's eyes were filled with fear on hearing Lu Li's words. Her family was destroyed, and she was all alone. Now, the remnant soul of her great-grandpa was about to be destroyed. How could she not be scared? Not scared. "Lord," the remnant soul spoke again. He made a shadow, knelt on the ground, and said, "I know I have sinned and cannot be forgiven. You don't have to destroy me. I will end my own life. But Luer is not guilty. Please forgive her. She has the holy body of frigid shade, which is hard to come by in 100,000 years. Our family used to have elixirs that could suppress the cold toxins in her body. Now that my entire family is dead, I am only left with a remnant soul. So there is no other way. I can only rely on this despicable and shameless method to extend her life. She is the hope of our entire family's revenge. Even if I go to hell, never to return, as long as Luer can grow up and help us take revenge, I will die without regrets." Lu Li said nothing. It was understandable. Any other powerful warrior would have done the same. But since he had done these things, his sin was unforgivable. He had to die. Otherwise, what would happen to the innocent people? Holy body of frigid shape. Lu Li had heard of this kind of physique. It was a rare one in 10,000 years, similar to Linglong's body of frigid shade, but more powerful. But there were pros and cons. This physique would be attacked by cold air for the rest of her life. She had to rely on elixirs of extreme yang to prolong her life. Luli took a look at Enlure. She had reached the second tribulation realm. She was only 7 or 8 years old, and she had passed 2 heaven tribulations. She was a genius. Luli thought about it and asked, "Who is the enemy of your family? Why does he want to destroy your family?" Enemy? The remnant soul's face suddenly became ferocious, and its body was full of resentment. Before the remnant soul spoke, Lure said with a guilty face, "It's all because of Lure. It's all Lure's fault. If Lure hadn't gone to Cold Haze City, she wouldn't have been discovered by that devil. That demon wanted Lure, so he hired someone to kill our family." A glint of coldness flashed in Luli's eyes. It was because of the holy body of frigid shade? Who could be so deranged? Luli turned to the remnant's soul, who was hesitating. A glint of coldness rose in Luli's eyes as he said, "Say it. I will not protect anyone. If I can kill him, I will avenge the infamily." "No." At this moment, Enlure said firmly, "The revenge of our infamily must be cleansed by our people. Zhu Fan, this devil Lure, swears as long as I don't die, I will definitely kill him and avenge my father, mother, brother, and the whole clan." Zhu Fan. Luli was taken aback. He asked back, "Are you sure it is Zhu Fan, the youngest grandson of Emperor Candle Heaven? Wasn't he sent back to the clan?" Instead of answering Luli's question, the remnant soul asked, "My lord, are you Emperor Lu, the brave and resolute general?" Luli nodded. The remnant soul was so young that it would be easy for the higher-ups of major families to tell who he was. The remnant soul was relieved and said, "Emperor Lu, the entire family was indeed killed by Zhu Fan. This is not a small matter. You can go and ask around. Our family is considered to be a slightly famous family. Our family patriarch and chief patriarch died at the Southern Theater of Operations. We took Enlure to pay our respects to them. But at the Chili Smoke City, that bastard Zhu Fan fancied Lure. He wanted to take her back and raise her for a while so that she could be his cultivation vessel. So, when we came back, he went to our door and said he wanted to take Lure as his concubine. Lure is the hope of our entire family. How can we say yes?" He didn't say anything. That night, our family was ambushed by 3 mysterious powerful warriors. I risked my life to escape with Lure, or else the consequences would be unimaginable. "Zhu Fan," Luli snorted. After a moment of silence, he looked at the remnant soul and said, "Go. I will get to the bottom of this. If it is true, I will adopt Enlure and keep her safe for the rest of her life. If she can achieve something in the future, I will let her kill Zhu Fan herself." "Thank you, Emperor Lu. Thank you." The remnant soul was overjoyed. He knelt on the ground and kowtowed. As a warrior of the Emperor realm, Lu Li's words were law. Even though Lu Li had a reputation of being both good and evil, the remnant soul had never heard of him doing evil deeds, at least not bullying the weak. The remnant soul knew very well that this was not the way to go. Enlure would either be found by Zhu Fan or his remnant soul would be shattered by powerful warriors. Eventually, Enlure would end up on the streets. She might be snatched away by some thug or torn apart by the beasts in the mountains. Lure. The remnant soul smiled and said with affection, "Forefathers' sin is unforgivable. It is pointless to keep a remnant soul. Those who died innocently cannot allow my remnant soul to live on. Lure, work hard and listen, Emperor Lu. Do not forget the blood feud between the family. Later, take Zhu Fan's head and offer it to our souls in heaven." Forefather, no. Young as Enlure was, she was sensible enough. She knew that her forefather was about to shatter the remnant of his soul. Her face was covered in tears. She kept kowtowing to Lu Li and begged, "Emperor Lu, please don't let my forefather die. If he dies, I will have no family left." Lu Li said nothing. He was determined. The remnant soul took another look at Enlure. Then, with a tremble, it vanished in the air. "Forefather, don't leave me here." Sob, sob, sob. Unlure trembled and choked with sobs. After a while, she passed out on the ground. Zhu Fan, this is all your fault. Lu Li sighed. He fed the little girl a pellet and put it away into the separation bead. Then, he took the old man controlled by the remnant soul to the village. He left the old man at the gate of the village and left. Then, he teleported to a big city and went to the largest black market in the city to get some information. At noon on the second day, he got accurate information. Half a month ago, the Yin family was wiped out by 3 mysterious, powerful warriors. The lord of the Yin family was furious and was investigating the murderers. Lu Li didn't blindly believe it. He teleported to a city near the Yin family and asked around to make sure that the information was true. Zhu Fan did come to the Yin family, and some people saw him with their own eyes. Now that the information was confirmed, Lu Li's words were the law. He would adopt Enlure and keep her safe. But how to settle Enlure was a problem. Sending her back to the city of mystic armor to be adopted by Xiang Ling Long or Lu Ling was one solution. But if Zhu Fan learned that Enlure was at the city of mystic armor, what if he had someone sneak into the city of mystic armor to kill him in order to cover up his scandal? Now that he could slaughter the Yin family so crazily, he could do something like that as well. After all, if Enlure told the truth, his reputation would be ruined. If Lu Li went to the immortal of heaven crime, maybe not even Emperor Candle Heaven could protect him. Of course, Lu Li wouldn't go to the immortal of heaven crime just for this. He didn't want to fall out with Emperor Candle Heaven in the current situation of the human race. Otherwise, the abyss of demons would laugh at him. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.